Back to another Boneyard podcast. We have, of course, this podcast is just colonial yapping. My warden friends couldn't make it, but on the next episode we should have some warden mains, my friends. So this should be great. This week we have some new faces, some old faces, and some really old faces. Um, yeah, guys. So new guest this week. We have NCR Shippage. I believe leader of Soul Coalition. I don't know if there's a leader to that or how that all works. He can explain that when he introduces himself. Godly, part of Horde, which I badly mislabeled. I didn't even put something for his name. Oh my
That's
gosh,
okay. The
I'm
name stands for itself, my friend.
so bad. And then we have a longtime friend and guest, HVL Legendary. And then obviously your host, Big Bear Berg. Um, man, we got some fun stuff to talk about. I feel like a lot of bugs, and if you ever seen one of those heartbeat scanners where it's do-do, 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 where it's up and down, we're so back, it's so cooked. We're so back, it's so cooked. It's a roller coaster, and I'm excited to talk about it with these guys. And yeah, I'll let them introduce themselves a little bit more deeply. Here you go.
So, hi, I am Shipich. I'm leader, founder of NCR, New Colonial Republic, and I am one of the commanders of the Soul Coalition, Sons of the Legion. Nice to meet you all.
Godly Force. Began my career with Shred, and then transitioned over to Orcs, and then stayed with Chamberlain and the Horde Boys, and currently an officer in the regiment, and friends with Bear and Legendary for quite a while. Known Shippage for a little bit too. So, collies all the way.
It's me, Legendary, the real leader of Bone, and Bear's puppet master.
True.
Yeah, we do a
Right.
lot of logi around here. Like that fucking nerd. Y'all knew that was full of shit. Bone don't know what logi is. Anyway, yeah, dude. So a lot of cool stuff. Now the dev branch, I think it has 3 hours left on it, maybe. Now that that's pretty much over. And I know Legendary fucking no lifed it. Shippage, I don't know if you got to participate in it. Godly, I saw you participate in a few operations and stuff on that. What did you guys think of the dev branch? Just as a generalized thing, do you guys have fun with it? Hated it? And what do you think of the changes they did in it?
I think the Death Branch was initially I was expecting it to be slightly different from what I thought about, but it turned out to be in the end exactly how I imagined it, right? The mechanics, how it would interact with the existing entities of the game. Um, and they're just as exciting as I anticipated them to be, especially fighters and the dive bombers. The dive bombers is probably my favorite thing about the whole update because, I colleagues get CAS, wardens don't. I get to mess with your tanks. You can't do anything, right? It's very fun. And plus the aircraft carrier, which was essentially like a wet dream for us before the Death Branch, and seeing it was like, wow, they actually did it. Exciting stuff. I loved it.
Personally for myself, I'm glad in the live war we won't see so many plane carcasses all over the place.
Oh,
That became insane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the airborne content, but myself and our regiment, we've been always kind of naval focused. So the new support boats, the Sombre, the medium boat, we're looking forward to implementing them with supporting armadas if we end up getting that way in the late war.
yeah, dude. All right, Mr. Bugs a lot. Roll it.
In terms of the actual content, it was pretty fun to try out both sides. So HL split up on Dev Branch. We literally built and tried everything on either side. Got to fly everything, got to test everything. I would say the most combat oriented interesting thing for me personally is the Sombra. The new support craft is super fun. We got to test out during this week specifically. We got to test out a lot of the new and interesting ways to stop aircraft from strafing and just overall being a menace to Logi lines. So we have a couple of surprises in store for what's next for us. So we're very excited to be designing our facilities to be combat facilities. So we're very interested to see how things are going to play out. So I see. I saw earlier this week that it looks like a lot of Warden partisans are forming a coalition, or a regiment, one of the two.
Go to
Warden
their
vets their
own
king.
super logi.
Yeah, like something like that. So I welcome the challenge that they come and try and mess with Soul's backlines because we're ready. We have build patterns in mind. So let's see what they can do.
Yeah, dude. I definitely am excited about everything. I am much like Shippage. I'm that asshole in War Thunder that as soon as I can get a plane, I'm gonna come bomb you, revenge bomb you. I love
Mr.
Cass.
Dive Bomber himself.
I did kind of set a
John
small
Bond.
goal for myself to be one of the best dive bombers in the game, and I'm still gonna be I'm gonna still keep trying to strive for that goal. But genuinely, I had a lot of fun in it. Um, I I do feel like some of the nerfs and buffs in the end had me a lot more panicked, but the devs did come through. I think they do listen to the community, and I'm actually gonna give a massive shout out to the devs. Um, I definitely give them kudos for listening to everyone's points in this and being active in changes and fixing as many bugs as they can as fast as they can. I think that they deserve massive kudos in that respect because I'll be honest and say a lot of changes like this have been a lot slower in the past and they were really on their A game with implementations changes. I mean, honestly, the fact that they gave them a new, they coded in some new stuff for that Warden medium boat. That Warden medium boat's now not as big of a joke as it was. Um, I really think that they did a great job, and I had a lot of fun. Being an asshole, putting warheads on foreheads, and getting shot by 30 people in flak at Morgan's Crossing. That was such a cesspool, and I bet you there was well over 1 million rares of dead carcasses of just my plane on the floor there, and I had a fucking blast, dude. It was really fun. It was really fun, and yeah, dude, I'm really looking forward to Airborne and how that all is gonna be implemented. But they, I can maybe find a photo of it here in a second for you guys of the new thing they did for the gunboat, but we'll talk about that later.
This update is gonna flip this game upside down.
I do actually, and that was kind of my next question going in here. Do you think that I'll be at it and say I'm gonna have a meeting with our group tomorrow about this, and Legendary, I think you're kind of a little bit ahead of the curve, and I'm actually going to come talk to you about some advice you have on facility building because we're not as good at facility stuff. We are looking into compartmentalizing a lot of our facility and sealing off with a lot more AI defenses and not having everything as come fuck me up target for warden bombers and partisans to hit. But my question to you guys is Airborne as scary to you guys now as the when we first got our feet wet in it? Are you guys do you guys think we have a decent do you guys think you have a decent understanding, and are you scared of Airborne anymore coming forward?
I don't think I'm scared. It's just the unknown factor. Like, how is everything going to interact? And
Yeah,
pretty much
it's. I mean, I agree with Godley. It's very similar to. Not sure if you guys recall when Naval Warfare came out. It was the same situation, right? We love the toys, we love all these ships, but then we're like, okay, how is this truly going to play out? And well, we found out very quickly it played out against us. We lost the war. Um, Lots of asymmetry in the equipment, but with Airborne, I think we have a chance, right? I think we really do have a chance here with the toys that we got from the developers. I have confidence.
From my side, I think it's yeah. I agree with Godly actually as well. Godly kind of like full sweep with the opinions here. It's the things that we can't account for, right? There's a Foxhole is a large enough is a huge game. There's a lot of assets in it. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know. For example, one of the things that we discovered literally 48 hours ago was that the Kali the Kali Palabolos is really good at sniping scouts out the air if you place it in certain places. So that's one of the defenses that we've started putting polyboluses, finding places to put polyboluses where people don't expect, and it's really hard to spot them. So if a scout plane flies low or it tries to harass a Logi line, HVL is going to be there with polyboluses to take them out. Now let's flip this. Let's flip the script here. What if you're in a scout plane and you do a preemptive like look around and you don't see like the polyboluses in bushes that we found. You don't expect there to be polyboluses on the back of trucks. You don't expect things like that, and you're just flying innocently, and then bam, two ARPGs hit you, and you never account for how much damage does an ARPG do to a plane when it hits you. I think that wow factor is both interesting, but it's like how many other examples more are they going to be like how good are Stygian bolts to like low flying uh, dive bombers? Can we leave Stygian bolts at the edge of islands, and then a torpedo bomber lines up to hit a destroyer? Can we just one tap the wing off of a torpedo bomber? I think that's the most interesting part coming out of Airborne. It's like, okay, now we know what the toys are. We know what their limitations are. What are some of the interactions that we don't expect? And that's the exciting part, I think, for Airborne. It's like we're gonna figure shit out. It's gonna be meta defining, on top of how we build, but just how we roll out stuff and how we play.
I think the most exciting anti-air defense that I found recently is against strafing airplanes is Watchtower Blueprints. It's the
Yeah.
funniest shit in the world. I see it's because I saw this in Death Branch. Like some moron is in a scout plane, comes diving at you, and then boom, blueprint in their face. They die immediately. And it's funny because you don't die. Like it costs you nothing, just a hammer and a whale to kill. It's cool stuff.
One of the funniest things that we're kind of scheming, and now that I am talking about it again, so a big thing that a lot of people are worried about is partisans, and rightfully so with Airborne and stuff. But something I really think would be just hilarious is if there's a base that's active or an airfield that's active, and they leave an aircraft out. What's it gonna look like when 10 collies pull up with 30 Boma stones and just shrap the shit out of a plane because it's shrapnel damage? What's that gonna look like to a plane? Like, are we gonna be able to snap a tail off of a plane with Boma stones? These are things I wish that this got told to me this morning, and I didn't have time because I was at work. But I want to see what that's gonna be like if you can like knock a plane out of the sky with the absolute Kobe of a Boma stone. I can't imagine it. Like, and there's just so many goofy things. Like, let's be honest. Like with disconnects and all the other random shit that happens in this game, what it's gonna be like when a plane crashes in the middle of a fight or just loses control or loses a wing and you're in your trench fighting with your rifle and then some pilot just drops out of the sky in front of you in a plane. It's gonna be chaotic, dude, and I'm really excited. That being said, this brought up another point talking about the scout planes. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the war going on right now, but scout planes apparently have been harassing Logi trucks to like an ungodly extent what they have done is they changed all scout planes to 20 mil, and they've increased the resistances on Logi trucks to
Yeah, I
shrapnel
was wondering
damage.
about that.
Now, the kooky part of this to me is now, am I going to be able to slide by EMGs in my Logi truck and maybe live for a fucking Mammon Rush or something crazy like that? These are things that I start thinking about because 20 mil is not just in the aircraft anymore. It's Sarah's included. And just kooky shit like that. I mean, what do you guys think of that change? Do you guys think that scout planes are going to be scary in mass now?
First,
Or
I hope it helps the Logi, to be honest, because I was quite worried about Logi for both sides just instantly dying to strafe runs from a scout plane.
Yeah, that is true. And then there's not really like you don't have at the ready anti-air either, like
Yeah.
wherever it may occur. So, but wait a minute, hold on, because this I actually don't know. They increase the resistance, right, against these strafe runs. Well, say a truck now gets jumped by partisans on the ground. Does that mean it takes a lot longer to kill them with just basic rifles? Because this I did not test out.
So the numbers is they increase the resistance against specifically shrapnel damage, and 20 mil is a ammo type that does shrapnel based damage. So weapons that are now affected by this is shrapnel mortar, 20 millimeter, and bomber stun. Those are the only 3 shrapnel weapons in the game. So rifle damage to unarmored vehicles is still the same. So the typical gameplay loop is completely unaffected. So you can still whip out your faster loading Dusk and take out Logi trucks without any problems. It's just
That's the same for FMG?
no,
No,
FMG is
FMG
still 12-7.
12-7.
Okay.
12-7 is light
Oh, I see.
is heavy kinetic damage.
Which I still found it really weird that that's kind of all these people out here crying about we don't have SPAA. We got guns on wheels, boys. It just don't have a motor. We got Lamborghinis, all right?
Oh, quick thing, Bear, they disabled the FMG anti-air mode.
No!
It's gone.
Damn it!
The funny thing is it was also on the Strider for like a day. So you could aim the Strider 12-7s up. I think currently the only 12-7 that remains, like actual 12-7 besides the large ships, is the Bellwether, the mine layer. So hopefully the devs bring it back. I'm really hoping for Lamentum and Ratcatcher AA mode, but for
One
now
thing
I think yeah.
I
We'll see.
came across or heard is with 40 mil push guns, if you build a 1x1 and put some stairs on it and angle the 40 mil upwards, you can one-shot planes.
You could also do it with a
Really?
smelter. And a smelter insta kills.
Yeah. So, smelters,
Now,
just, build
when you
yourself a
guys were
1x1
testing,
with stairs.
when you guys were testing that, 40 mil is obviously what is the damage type for 40? Is it AP or HE?
Explosive.
Explosive. Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's
I know
explosive.
that you have for 68s this won't work because they have a shitload of resistance, and 94.5 as well. They have a higher resistance to AP damage. All planes do. They got a 60%, or I think it's 60 now. I don't know if it was 60 or 90. I'm pretty sure it was 60. They have a really higher, or they have a 60% resistance on AP damage, but I don't think that applies for explosive or heavy explosive. So that's quite interesting that 40 mil actually has quite an. It's quite interesting that 40 mil has a lot to do here. That also really worries me that we're gonna have SPAA outlaws fucking tilted at the sky. Fuck.
No, I can already see this, like just tanks tilting on an incline and just shooting incoming planes.
Oh
I
my
will do
God,
that. 100%.
dude. The Ares has a purpose, boys. Get those 75s in the air.
It's no longer dog shit. It's
Yeah.
back.
It's
Put ramps
flak.
on all your metas, boys.
We have flak. That's awesome.
yeah. The other thing to also keep in mind is facility stairs. are really good at angling shit.
Oh,
That's
wow.
that's true.
That's the
That's
number
true.
one thing. I recently posted a YouTube short of us messing around with tripod weapons on facility stairs, but there are certain vehicles that you can sort of like wedge into certain positions as well. I will say it's really niche, and honest to God, it's easier by the method that you guys describe, where you just kind of put like a 1x1 down, put down tier two it, put a stair in it. But if you really want to go the extra mile and have like a semi-permanent position, facility stairs are also really good. So just another thing to add. That I will say that the facility stair is a gateway drug into building black towers. So we've really been messing around with that sort of stuff.
That's
It's super interesting.
gangster. That's
Yeah,
gangster.
Oh boy.
armored fighting facilities.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually want your guys' opinion on the new changes they did to like the binos. Um, that actually brought some concern a little bit to me on how the new like area effect works, and I did report it as a bug, but you're allowed to do that from inside a commander's seat with the hatch closed.
Well,
That I didn't
also,
know
it's
that.
going to be a partisan's dream right there.
It's
So
very similar to, you guys remember the dry dock
Yeah.
trick? Yeah. So it's very. I'm assuming it's something like that, right?
it's exactly like that. You zoom out and you pretty much I would say it's at least 150 to 160 feet of just 3D aerial view like you're in the sky. Now,
Oh,
clouds do have a massive effect, and I assume weather do too, but that's not always going to be factors that come into play with this. But one thing we are assuming that is in it that you might have fog of war with actual vehicles unless you point to that area, because like if I did it at Spawn Island with a pair of binos near the arty guns for the Kali 120s, and you can see the arty pits with the guns in them because they're pre-placed, but like the arty 120s, I had to put my crosshair, like my aiming dot with the bino, on those to actually see them. So I'm very interested to see actually how they're planning to like fully balance this, because this also, if I can see infantry movements from inside of a closed tank while having that aerial view, you'll never get flanked again.
Legendary actually had a question because I think I saw this at some point, but apparently there's a bug with the air mode with binos where pillboxes disappear when you enter this mode. Apparently, can you
no.
confirm this?
So that was an unrelated bug. I know the bug that you spoke of. That was an unrelated bug. When they updated the dev branch, they messed with pillbox firing rates, and for some reason that turned existing pillboxes in the game world invisible. So you may have seen some clips of people jumping inside of pillboxes and pulling out binos and spotting with it. It's completely unrelated to the binos thing. So unless that crops up, I don't think the two mesh well together. If you actually go look in the dev branch info channel, well, you can't now anymore because it's invisible. There was a post by one of the devs, I can't remember who, probably Quaff, who basically said known issue. Existing pull boxes from previous dev branch builds are now invisible. So I think they were unrelated. However, one thing about the dry dock binos bug, it never got fixed, by the way. If you want to, if you can still do it in today's build, it's just it comes with a big drawback. You have to carry a large item. So if you grab a sandbag or a barbed wire coil and you try and you whip out the dry dock blueprint, it does exactly the same thing that the binos does.
As a
It's a very
non
it's a,
Yeah.
fixed in the live.
Yeah. They don't think that far ahead.
yeah. So if you ever see some random partisan in partisan uniform carrying a sandbag, he's bino tricking. So shoot him.
Yeah, I'm very interested how I'm honestly surprised that's how they wanted to go about it, but I'm very interested to see if they keep that implementation in, because I do see the benefit in it. but I
Well-
also see some nasty possibilities with that.
Can't you essentially with the bino now? Can't you spot for artillery without even having to go very far?
Yes.
Like you could literally sit near your guns pretty much and
No, it
See
doesn't
the
give you
round?
more range. It's not like it gives you
Okay.
more range. It's like
just
you're
spread
getting the 3D view of your bino. Like if you pulled your binos out and pulled them up to your eye and looked straight, you'd have 126 meters range, right?
Yep.
And you do that in a full circle, you would have to like look at one small lens in a full circle. But with this, it's like it spaces you out to have 126 degrees in all the whole circumference of your actual being. You can see everything in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like binoing 360. It's like binoing 360 degrees without aiming in and having a small vision cone.
I will say it is a little bit, it is slightly different in the fact that your character model tends to only look up, so you do lose the lateral sort of distance that you can normally see with binos. Because normally when you hold right mouse button, your character camera moves an X amount of distance away. You don't get that when you switch to aerial mode. Your camera pans up, and then if you have the peripheral vision, that'll help out. I will say that they did significantly increase the amount of cloud cover that you get when using aerial mode in general, not just with the binos, but also the AIA and I think some of the like aiming up lines from flak cannons and stuff. So it is significantly harder to really see things through the cloud cover. And the I guess the only scary part is game mods are going to be a thing, and people are probably going to mod out the cloud cover 3D models. Like, just take the 3D model for the cloud cover or the texture. Sorry, the texture, not the 3D models. The texture for those models, and just make them invisible. So, I guess we're gonna see how it plays out. I'm more scared that the community modders are gonna go overboard. It's gonna be the same as the dudes who do the high texture visibility mods for assembly materials. Guys who like to use the map mod, guys who like to use like vehicle vulnerability point mods, that sort of stuff. It's going to be the next thing that's going to come out. It's going to annoy a lot of people. People with binos who have that mod just have a significant advantage over people who don't. Could be some severe restrictions to modding going forward. So hopefully not. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
Now, I have the map pulled up. What do you guys think of the cut?
The
Insane.
starting conditions.
Absolutely insane.
You're referring to the starting conditions?
Yeah, I have it pulled up on the podcast page right now. This is
Dude,
the cut,
So,
and I think it's a very. I think the naval larpers that were thinking they were gonna have their whole big ass block, just fucking did the whole kind of meme. It's gonna be fucking wild, dude. Like the fact that we're gonna have to get Logi out to like Olavi's wake and Palatine Berm. We're gonna have to get Logi out to those fucking guys, dude.
Well, I think those spots start with Logi towns, though.
yeah, they do. They do. If I recall correctly, they have refineries of their own
Yeah.
and factories.
Just like Wardens with the fingers, they'll have an advantage over there with having probably refinery and factory, which is scary.
I honestly was not expecting. Yes, like the island's great, perfect, awesome, but the starting conditions was just like, I guess you could call a slap in the face. You're like, what is this? Because we all saw the pre-patch. We're like, no, there's no way it's gonna be like that, and then they just doubled down. So, I mean, having these colonial and warring conclaves in each of the big new islands, well,
Dude,
I'll tell you what, it's definitely going to draw a lot of pop away. It's going to drop a lot of pop from the mainland. It could help with overpopulation, I'll give them that. So, but as for people that had Navy planned, yeah, I pray for the people that said, let's go east. Yeah, good luck, buddy.
Dude,
That's us.
well, we're doing a lot of land and naval stuff. I'm gonna be honest. It's really wild. I'm really interested to see the approach that each team takes. Um, I'm very interested to see how it's all gonna pan out because, like, not only is Fisherman's Row and Ore Breakers cut in half, the Gutter Perry Peak is cut in half, but like on the other side, Tempest, Lycos Isle, Endless, the Fairnax cut in half, but not in the places you would think, right? So like you guys on the west are gonna have Jade Cove and get to skip the ramp, but we get to go through the fucking muck and ruck of Saltbrook Channel on the east.
If
It's
we don't
very
secure
wild.
Endless and they get into Alids like they normally do, yeah, that's my biggest fear.
What I want to see is, you know how they've disabled the interocean travel thing, right? For
Oh, the east to
technical reasons,
west
I'm assuming.
travel, yeah.
So I'm assuming when they do bring it back, right, the being able to cross oceans from east to west, how are they going to leave the starting conditions as they are? Are they going to continue with this kind of setup? Because something tells
Oh.
me a problem might arise from this. You get me? I don't know. I can't really put my finger
I
on it,
think
but
it might go back solid north versus west when they implement the world crossing again.
yeah, yeah. And I don't think some people were saying, oh, if they bring it back, we'll be able to um, travel from our islands to their islands navally, like super shortcut. I don't think it's going to be like that. They're going to like restrict certain hexes from, allowing you to travel between
Or 15
oceans
minutes travel time.
or 15 minutes travel. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
it.
it's not like we're used to sitting in queues anyway. Like, how many times have you tried to board across with a full destroyer and then oops?
Mm.
Um, just to answer your question, from the map layout, I can only say one thing: Origin MPF. Maybe. I mean, Origin is like an actual Origin is for once like a proper backline. It's not just like a, oh yeah, it's a backline, but then one hex over, menacing blue navy is assembling to come and attack you. Um, so I'm curious to see if they're changing the spawn mechanics for facilities, world spawn logistics hubs, for both sides. So we might actually see an MPF in Teketima. We might see an MPF um, in places that we normally don't see MPFs. And I know that's boring for you frontline guys, but that's super exciting for Logi Lines guys like me because now I don't have to go through Ashtown. I don't have to build that rail loop, which makes me want to kill something other than myself. It's just not great, right? So
Well,
I'm very excited to see I'm very excited to see an MPF in Teketima. So with this map laid out like this, three hexes are between me and the front line. Maybe the spawning algorithm smiles gently upon the humble Logi man. We'll see.
so here's the next question I have um for you guys. With the map expanding 10 hexes, do you think that this is going to be a war where we start seeing more MPFs? Like, because you typically it's 5 to 6, right? 5 to 6 per map when old school.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah,
we're
more or
gonna
less.
start seeing like maybe 7 or 8 possible MPFs? Because you have to
Oh,
now feed X amount more hexes and your lines are stretching X amount more. Do you guys think that we'll start to see more logi, like as the map gets bigger, you have to have more like critical VP points and critical logi points because you can't just have 4 feed X amount more hexes, right? You're stretching out how much one lane and one hex can do. So, do you guys think that we could see like Terminus, Akritha, Kalakai, Red River, Ash, Origin Callum speaking Basin, Hal, Clanshed, Morgan. Like
Well,
literally
with
the
the
back
pop
line.
increase that's coming, I hope they do implement some new MPF towns because, I mean, if they just leave it as is, the back line's just going to be cute as much as the front lines.
And that's
So
kind
they
of the
need to
scary
spread it out a
thing.
bit, I think.
That's kind of the thing I'm a little not concerned about, but something I've talked about. Logi lines might need mines might need to be bigger. Like you might actually have to have more backline hexes. You know what I mean? What do you guys think of that?
I mean, sorry, is my mic work now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that they're definitely going to be bigger, considering that, and with an increase of MPFs, you know, maybe this strategy that everyone has gotten used to in the past before the addition of these new islands, it could dramatically change. Priorities might go up in the air, and now it's not just about the mainland anymore, right? We don't know how well it's going to support having these new islands under our control. It's going to support the actual pushes in the mainland.
I do see MPFs on the subcontinent. I call them the subcontinents. I don't know if they have a proper name, but I call them like the little islands off of the main ones. So I would say on the subcontinents, I expect there to be at least one MPF. Um, in the dev branch, I'm not sure about pre-patch. I don't think the islands are activated in pre-patch, but on the dev branch, those islands didn't have MPFs. But keep in mind that the I think all the main Logi towns, like the actual towns with town bases in them, are coded in such a way that it could potentially spawn an MPF, or it can't. And the devs can always just add one in whenever they feel like it. They did that for Jade Cove like a couple wars ago, where Jade Cove didn't have an MPF, but it was meant to, and then they just spawned one in, right? So I think at the very least, okay. So actually, now that I think about it, there's two philosophies behind it. Because one, we have evil max, or two, we have good max. Uh, if we have good max, then we have a permanent MPF on the subcontinents, and that's where you're going to be producing. That's where you're going to be MPFing your new medium boats from, like your Striders, your Ornithers, your Sombras, etc. And would make very little sense to MPF them in like a classic backline MPF like Callum's Cape or Calakai or any of those places. But we might also have a situation where we have Evil Max, and if we have Evil Max says he's going to put an MPF in not Speaky Wood, sorry, in Nevish Line, and if you want to have your train loads or truckloads of MPF'd small boats, then you're gonna have to set up a train line from Devish Line's main Logi town, going west to that one town that has a seaport in it, and then you have to set up a iron ship line from that seaport, literally 200 meters south, into the new Logi hub, and you have to build that entire infrastructure to build up. Now, I'm fairly sure Evil Max would love to sit, and just follow the entire like watch the train go past the MPF at Nevish Line, pick up all the crates, take it to the seaport, put it in the seaport, pull up some iron ships, pull up some barges, and then move it across. So I think it's one of two things. We'll probably get the classic MPFs and Devman going, hey, yes, get in the iron ships, little evil, like evil little lab, like rubbing hands, going, yes, get in your iron ships and move the Logi to the islands as we expect, or we might just get Devman good and we just get an MPF, we just get a singular MPF in those subcontinents.
One thing I caught in the Q&A, some guy posted their line of questioning about war start or whatever. Max replied that it wasn't up to devs, that they actually have war planners that set up resource layouts, that set up the MPF towns. It's something that's in our Horde thread. I think I can dig it up and send it to you guys, but it was a question posed, and Max did respond that they actually have war planners.
We can look at that. We can show the
That's cool.
we can show
Let
that on
me
the
let me
thing.
see if I can find that.
Yeah, just send it to the Discord and I'll pull it up for the main screen and we can take a look at that. But that's very interesting. But here's one thing I also wanted to bring up too. And something that I feel like is being very undervalued that I think will have a massive impact on the war. I can't believe the devs add a fucking mine layer for the water. Dude, the Bellwether is literally one of the unsung heroes of this update that is getting overlooked in every conversation that I feel like is going to be a literal fucking menace. I guarantee you you're going to have some no-life literally set the fucking Maginot Line of mines in the water, dude. Just rows on rows, stacks on stacks. And that little shithead's going to go out there every day, check his minefield. He's going to have fucking M-subs. He's going to go check. He's just going to be on a little shrimping boat, Berg shrimping boat. And he's just going to go be an asshole, dude. Like, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm foreshadowing. That's gonna be me, dude. Instead of fucking Logi and doing all this shit, I'm just gonna go help the Logi boys and make sure that they can't have little shitheads come try to fucking kill them and have safe passageway, dude. I'm so excited to be on Berg Shrimp Boat, dude. I'm so excited. You have no
I posted
clue.
that image in the Boneyard chat.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Shep, what do you think
Be
about the
question
Bellwether?
number 8.
Yeah, Shep, what do you think about the Bellwether? You think you was excited about it?
Yeah, the mine layer. I mean, I think it was a matter of time because I know I do recall that people always ask the devs, please add a mine layer, a naval mine layer would be so cool. They did. I still remember in my dev branch, everyone screamed. They're like, they said the same thing, shrimp and boat, shrimp and boat. No, it was amazing. And I have yet to see how they implement this during the war, right? How annoying people are going to be with it. I haven't tested it myself enough, but it can only deploy a certain mine or both, like underwater.
They can deploy both, and that's something interesting. I'm glad you guys brought up that mine layer boat can be menacing.
Yeah, it's gonna be
you might even want to consider taking them out with your ops. You say you spot enemy boats or a submarine is in hex, you get behind it and you encircle it in with the mines. It's a pretty good strategy that we've talked about in Horde.
It's way better than a barge truck.
And they're so maneuverable. They're so good.
Time out. By the way, the guy who sent these questions in and got the answers is in the chat. It's DJ. It's D James. This is his fucking.
Oh, James.
This is his
thing. Question.
Yeah,
let's go.
Thing.
Is his username OKJello on Reddit?
Yeah,
he's James.
So I do have.
But yeah, the question was about the ore breakers place. I think it was ore breakers, right? Number 8 there.
Yeah, I'll let the war planners figure that one out.
So yeah, there is more.
Do you see the ore breaker isle starting under colonial control or warden control during the regular at North versus South war? Same question goes for the new Lycos Isle. And then it says, I'll let the war planners figure that one out. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, we might be grabbing there saying that this is a different set of people versus this is just a different set of devs that do this, and maybe Mac's not included in that. You know what I mean? This isn't him flat out saying we have a whole set of different people. It might just be a label they have for different developers. Like, it might be Julian and, whoever else. It might be X amount in the company, but it could also mean it's not excluding that possibility either,
It could also be an AI.
That's as well.
It could literally be okay. I say AI, not the ChatGPT AI. I think it could also be just an in-game like AI director, like you get with most other games. That, like for example, the thing that designs the map is automated. The map that we see in game is based off of relic-based positions, and it's based off of like an algorithm that spawns them in. And I think they do the same with like neutral territories. I might be wrong with this, but I always held the idea that the devs have like sliders, and then they go and say, okay, there needs to be X amount of starting neutral territory. There needs to be X amount of salvage fields. There needs to be X amount of this and X amount of that. And then they just say generate, and then it automatically spawns things in. I think that might also be like a wall planner, in my opinion. It might not be a human. That's the point I was going to get across to that. So.
Gronk, can you fix my
Something.
foxhole map for War 126?
Oh, so I just want to point out one very important thing about the bellwether for frontline guys, because I saw you guys were cooking about bringing them to your frontline ops. The bellwether has a secret ability that a lot of people don't know. Unless you played in the bellwether and thought about playing it as a tugboat, the bellwether has a really strong push force.
Oh,
You
it
can push enemy ships with it.
wait, really?
Yes. So, just want to point out. I just want to put out the hypothetical. A frigate is skirting along a pre-prepared rudder lock minefield, surface minefield. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rudder locks. The frigate, knowing full well where it is and it has a scout overhead, is carefully navigating it. Across the border comes 4 bellwethers going full steam ahead and slams into the frigate and pushes them starboard side first into a minefield.
Dude, capsize
I'm
the
just
ship into the mines.
I am just
Holy
gonna put it
shit.
out there. Think about it. That's all I'm gonna say. The bellwether has really good pushing force. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think they're kind of envisioning it. Okay, maybe we also have a bit of a tugboat now. I don't know if that's meant to be like that, but it hasn't been fixed yet. Oh, I haven't tested it like in the last 48 hours, but I did test it like 2 weeks ago.
Mark my
Abuse, abuse,
words,
abuse.
you're gonna see me in a fucking like that old school like yellow shrimping boat hat, and I'm gonna have the fucking fish hooks in my head, and I'm just gonna have a big old fucking corn bob pipe. Fucking, I'm gonna have my long johns on with my fucking water boots, and I'm just gonna be shrimping, dude. Shrimping for warden boats, baby. It's gonna be awesome. Shoving them into mines.
Lieutenant Dan.
You ain't got no leg, Lieutenant Dan. Oh shit. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
the LARP is so good with this update too, bro.
So
Uh,
wait, the push, I guess, this boat it pushes, I guess, more than the colonial gunboat. Is that what it is?
I think it pushes a little bit stronger. It has a little bit more push force compared to existing boats that we have, and it's quite maneuverable. It's about as maneuverable as a barge because it kind of has to be because you use it to. It works like a water CV. But I think that a lot of the things that players have been asking for over like basically since the freighter rework is the ability to have something that could interact to like help navigate channels and whatnot.
Yeah,
The
that's
bellwether,
that's
the
what I
bellwether
like.
feels a little bit good at it, and I think the intention behind it is to maybe help destroyers or ships that have large holes in them to like maneuver them back into a dry dock. But it also works on enemy ships, and I'm just gonna put it out there.
I would like to see, I think tugboats would be really nice. Just if they actually become tugboats, like we can actually throw a rope and attach a, say, an aircraft carrier, battleship, or destroyer, whatever.
Oh, an actual tug.
Make it
Yeah,
more
yeah.
maneuverable, help it across, especially in Ashfields, for example, or Red River, like that atrocious river system. A tugboat would change our lives forever. I wouldn't mind tugging a battleship out to, Origin Bay, out of the bridges, and then I watch it get torped. So I'm like, okay, I'll come to rescue you. It's like it's fun. I like it. I really like these.
that'd actually be a really cool idea. I like that too. And I think a lot of people have wanted. I don't know what they're in the military. They might just be called tugboats, but the boats that literally just help large ships move out to bay from dock. Are those what they are called in the military term, tugboats? Or do they have a specific name to them? I don't know.
Rooster,
But yeah.
save us!
Yeah.
Rooster,
Yeah,
Rooster,
literally.
save us!
Rooster! He's sick right now. He's super sick.
Ah,
But
damn. Let's put it.
But yeah, I really a pilot ship. There you go. That's what I was looking for. They're called pilot ships, and I think those would be. I think that'd be a perfect job for the tugboat. Honestly, um, I love that thing, dude. Honestly, it's. I love the Strider too, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have more fun on the tugboat. I think. Just the whole LARP aspect of it. I'm super excited, and I do want to bring up a kind of controversial topic to you guys that I don't think has been in the game for a very long time, but is gonna give back some old school war vibes. So before the whole airplane charade came in, one of the things they did was they nerfed howitzer retaliation to 200 meters. So 120 spam is going to be a viable option again, more than it's ever been. What
Thank
do you
God.
guys think about that?
Well, Colonials will have to be especially concerned. I'd suggest when you do your 120s, put some sandbag walls around it to protect your guns as much as you possibly can. A couple strafes from a fighter or whatever, and they're pretty much donezo.
The field gun is in a very peculiar position right now. Like when the tier 1 and tier 2 Howies could outrange it, right? It just became completely useless, redundant. No one would use it, right? It'll just get decrewed immediately. And yeah, it's for the tier 2 slot came out. So now with it reducing the range and it becoming viable, it'll be used. But then I thought they're going to be, strafing is a problem, right? On 120 field gun crews, right? You can strafe them easily from what I've heard.
Yeah, sure can. Just like I said, try to lower your hitbox as much as possible.
Gentlemen, the day of putting a gate in front of your 120 gun is back.
I will go back to blueprint defense if I have to do that. Strafing scout plane, boom, blueprint, die.
So I intend to do some 120 ops this war. I have a back pocket. Frontline facility design that I have in mind to protect my 120 guns. You think the blueprint is bad? Wait, do you see Captain Overhead Pipe?
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
I've been
boom, bitch, overhead pipe.
Shout out to HVL Fortesium who inspired me.
Oh my god, dude! Fucking
We're
overhead
saved, boys.
pipes, boys. Fuck your
We're
strafe.
saved.
Overhead pipes. Fuck it. It gets even larpier, dude. I mean, it'd probably be cheaper to do pipes, but what if you did a fucking AA tower with a fucking walkway above your arty guns, dude? And a arty tower in front of your guns, bro. I mean, they get
It gets even
120.
better. It gets even better. It gets even better. Do you know there's one damage type that the devs have not nerfed the damage for specifically airplane parts to? It's one damage type that hasn't been touched, and that's explosive damage. Do you know what faction has one explosive damage tripod weapon that can aim slightly up if you get the angle right?
ISG.
We're cooking
ISGs,
ISGs.
dude.
If you put an ISG on one of those walkways, you can hit planes that fly down to 30 altitude.
Wait, hold on. 120 is also just explosive powder, and it's not considered. Is it HE?
No, it's
Okay.
HE. Sorry,
I don't do Logi, guys.
Well,
Don't blame me. I don't do Logi. Sorry.
sorry. That's why I'm the other half of the podcast most of the time.
But I was thinking, what if you tilted? I mean, you don't even have to tilt, but if you shot a plane with a 120 gun, because it is a legit projectile, you could theoretically have AA with the 120s if you have enough guns and they came and strafed you. You could send one right back at
I'm really sad that the dev branch kind of ended. I wouldn't. Okay, so the dev branch ended today, but last night when they did the last build that we got to test, they unfortunately disabled a lot of the techs. The last thing that we really wanted to test before we logged off last night was what happens if you fly a scout or a fighter over a Hades nest operation. Just the HE rockets going off. Do you get shredded? What actually happens? But unfortunately, we didn't get to test it. But in theory, if there's like planes that are harassing a front line and you just pull out a Retarius, there's always the possibility that you just do your usual rocket up and you shred the plane like mid-air because it is a projectile, and you just see a fighter plane landing to the ground because all the wings got knocked off of it. Because HE damage also does full damage, and those parts I believe have really low HP. It's not hard to shred them.
And here's the really
it's like-
sad part. If they
Yeah.
did go over an AA, or if they went over a rocket RD, the chance of you sliding between those rockets without catching a fucking 600 damage projectile, you're cooked, dude. That's literally a fucking, like, if there's a bomber, bro, dude, that's gonna be so sad.
Anti-air rockets.
We really wanted to test it last night, but unfortunately, Deadman switched off. We literally couldn't print the rocket emplacements because we were gonna test it with the rocket emplacements, but it was just switched off.
That's
Deadman
so
bad.
wild, dude. Honestly, I'm a little sad that they did one more update at the end without letting us test a little bit more. Because they did do some pretty big changes in today's final patch notes, and I'm really surprised they didn't want us to go touch those. I will say the doom and gloom is over, boys. They did buff the damage to where we can kill CVs with a dive bomber. That was a big sad part for me, and I'm glad they got that back. I also, if you guys are not aware, and I want to know what you guys think about this, the Warden 120 has... Oh, hell yeah, my dinner just got done, boys. Thank you. Oof. Having homemade pizza now. Oh, sorry about that. What do you guys think about the Warden Fighter 14.5? I'm actually really happy that that thing's effective, and it can literally, I think it's strong enough now, and I think it's in a good place. I think it's strong enough now to kill a Kali 120 gun in 5 to 7 shots. What are you guys thinking other than obviously oil pipes and stuff? What do you guys think the best way is going to be to counter a lot of these strafes? Do you guys think it's going to be mass Sarah spam? Or do you think we're just going to have 3 flak AA batteries in every hex?
Sarah spam is the most likely thing that you'll see in front lines, especially, right? I don't know how often you'll see them like between frontline bases, because that's just going to be economically unfeasible, right? And strategic. But Sarah's in the front line spam, and also they're going to mix in flak in more. I don't think they're going to put flak in frontline bases. I think they're gonna put flak more like for facilities, right? For strategic locations like MPFs, airports, that kind of stuff.
Flak's gonna be late tier tech, won't
Is
No,
that how it's
it? I wonder when it'll be up.
It unlocks the tier 2 facilities, so
Oh, okay.
They're not that expensive, though, from my understanding. They're 40 pecans.
if you build them a facility, they are literally nothing. They are literally nothing. It's like it's about it's slightly more expensive than a heavy truck, slightly. And
Did I
a mobile harvester costs more to make a flak cannon.
hold on regarding flak? Maybe I misread. I don't know. Please confirm. Did they move it to the MPF, the flak guns?
Both.
It's about they're in both.
Both.
I think they're both. I think from the MPF it's 400 RMATs. Was that right, or 5? No.
So
Okay.
an individual gun that you hammer out is 175 RMATs. It's really expensive.
Alright.
So if we just go with MPF numbers, that's probably along the 175 RMATs is slightly more than a gunboat queue, and a gunboat queue is like 1,600 pico armats for a full MPF queue. We are not going to be ship. We're not going to be making them out of the MPF. If we do, it's just a massive waste of
No, I
armats.
believe you. I
So
believe
we're
100%.
gonna do. I'm telling you right now, ship. We're gonna do pop-up factories of them. Like Zoltagash is already frothing at the mouth. So
If I
we're
were-
already going. We're just gonna take a train of pecons to a front line. We're gonna build it. We're gonna build one pad. We're gonna print for 3-4 hours. Just fill all the stockpiles
No.
with flak guns. Deploy them in every frontline base. Put
I
an
really
ammo room
think
next to them. Fill up the ammo rooms, and then we fuck off.
I
That's it.
think those are going to be pretty common. And in my opinion, I think they're going to be very common on front lines. And to be honest, I don't know if collies are going to need them as much as wardens will. I think they're going to make an emphasis to have flak on every front all the time. I think it'll
Well,
be
this
pretty rare if we don't see them.
I think you'll want to emplace them around your cores. More importantly, giving a bit of cushion from the front line, and then making sure that you have a ample time and response to bombers coming in on your cores.
From what I've been hearing, apparently flak is a very effective anti-infantry weapon. Is that correct?
It is
Yep.
hilariously good at
Okay.
it is. If you're worried about satchel rushes or mammon rushes, Captain Flak Cannon solves problems. So here's the thing.
It has a direct fire mode.
Yep.
It has a direct fire. It has a
Oh,
direct
shit.
fire mode. It was currently bugged in Dev Branch where the direct fire mode for ground level couldn't let you to rotate the gun, so you had to like rotate it in aerial mode, and then you have to like undeploy, like not undeploy it, but deploy it back into ground mode. That should be fixed now. But we did some the back of the envelope testing on like, can the flak cannon like kill a building? Can it kill a pillbox? Can it kill a truck, etc.? So just back of the envelope math, a single flak shell deals 25% damage to a heavy truck. So if you have 4 shells, you can kill heavy trucks with it.
That might
So
be down now because they
yeah,
upped
that might.
the.
Oh, because of the strap. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they're
could be
gonna
down
be
now.
down.
But
What?
hilariously, the primary target spreads the shrapnel damage out. I actually have a clip that I'm probably going to make into a YouTube short of us firing a flak cannon at an enemy crane, because we were testing cranes to see if you could kill it with the crane with it. And my shell loaders that were standing behind me died because of the AoE shrapnel going off, hitting the crane like right in front of me.
What's the ammo for the flat gun?
It's a
It's
specialized round.
it's a facility locked. It's a new shell called 9 something 70. We just call it flak. We just call it flak 70.
You can MPF
It's
those
a
now too.
okay. You could probably MBF them as well, but you could. Yeah, they're primarily facility locked. You make them at a large shell factory.
Can you put those in ammo rooms?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that'll be
Yes.
good.
Basically, all the new ammo added. Literally, I don't think there's a single ammo type that they added with Airborne that is not storage room / palatable. Everything is. So
Yeah,
that's
think
the
you're
new.
right.
That's the new. Yeah.
And
That'll be good.
honestly, I think something that's gonna have to be a lot of growing pain for both sides is how to build an airfield. It's gonna be really interesting on how to build an airfield effectively. And to be honest, one thing I was kind of missing is little ammo rooms, um, like with just boxes ready to go, or of 20 more, or even a material transfer station. Because I think you can put 20 mil on material transfer stations now too. No,
Correct. Yes.
I'm gonna be. I think you'll start seeing a lot more pallets of 20 mil up on front lines as well, just for Sarah's and stuff like that, and just for AA purposes. I think it'll be quite interesting. With all
Make
the new
sure
changes.
you leave room for large rails into your airfield.
I think people are beginning to establish like norms for building around or in airfields. Like for example, if some group decides to large build and obstruct in an airfield, people are automatically going to turn around and just obliterate you if you do that. So I'm sure people will respect those unwritten rules. Railway access.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, they have to.
Also,
They have to.
also, when in doubt, if you're going to be someone who's designing these, just from our personal experience over the last week or so, when in doubt, provisional road. Certain airplanes move much more easier with provisional roads. If you put a provisional road down, no one can put something on top of the road to mess with it, unless it's like a power pole that really is just obstructive. I guess that's like the only real scary one. But basically, a lot of the airfields that we saw where it's like the large hangar, a small assembly area, like a patch of grass, and then the runway, just line provisional roads. Make them as long as you can and as low to the ground as possible. Just put provisional roads down, because that's the best way to prevent people from LARPing. So yeah, pro tip. Um, I will say though that a little bit of doom and gloom from my side. Logistics players, be very careful. We might lose the crane trick. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Because a lot of dudes discovered the most optimal way to assemble a plane is to not use a truck with a trailer, which is really, really annoying to certain like to maneuver around. And you can't build small train tracks in front of hangars because it's unbuildable terrain. So what a lot of people have figured out is you can now basically rapid assemble a plane by having a mobile crane in between a large hangar and pulling materials from a
MTS.
bunker base or a transfer station. And that's
Oh.
currently the meta way that the Wardens were assembling things. They literally just stopped producing trucks and trailers. They would just be doing mobile cranes to assemble planes very fucking quickly.
I mean, thank
So
God, because that the truck and trailer was annoying. I was
yeah, it was
very
annoying, but that's the problem is that's the vision. So if it's
That's the
against the vision, the devs will change and nerf things until it matches the vision. So
It's because
from
I saw this. I saw this legendary. I'm just like seeing people assemble with the truck and the trailer going back and forth, and then already the trailer's having very wonky mechanics. I'm just like, how am I supposed to QRF
Well,
aerially, right? As fast as I can in this fashion? It's impossible. The bomber's going to get over my field before I can even go attack it.
that brings up a question for me. Like we have the released 63, right? Their branch or whatever, but when the war comes out, will they implement more changes with that update?
For game breaking
Yep.
stuff,
Do you
I
think
assume so.
do you think we'll see more?
Like in
Yes.
the live war, like
For game
Yeah, the
breaking
live
stuff,
war
yeah.
update, yeah.
Yeah.
any changes. I mean, they okay. Like for example, from what I saw in FOD, Max said that how people were saying that the Colonial MPS, the rail, all the terrain was kind
Yeah,
of like
that needs to be fixed.
So he said that it's fixed already. It's actually gonna go in with the live update war. It's just not gonna be announced.
So we
But-
will see more updates when the live war comes, right?
I mean,
yes,
I like to assume so. Yeah.
yes.
I
will.
hope there are things, good things to come with that. I'll put it that way.
I think that a lot of the stuff that people are hyper fixated on, a lot of it's just number changes and like data sheet changes for them. I will even say I've fallen victim to getting over. I hope we're hyper fixated on small little problems that can be fixed very quickly. Just realize that they have time. There's a couple more days, and even if it is bad or in a bad spot, they can change it if it's game breaking. You know what I mean? They're not going to let us sit through in one of the biggest wars ever. Probably the biggest war ever in Foxhole coming up. I doubt that they're going to let game breaking bugs go the whole war. Like, 2 months, 3 months, you got to deal with it. I doubt it.
I mean, it's gonna be like you guys were around for Inferno, right? 96. Remember
Yep.
how the fire and the water
Yes.
problem?
Oh God,
they
yes.
fixed it mid-war, right? People were like, "This shit's like it breaks the game. Do something."
Buckets literally didn't work. The
Yeah,
buckets literally didn't work.
It didn't work. I remember how frustrating that was. But
And then they were like double the bucket charge, and then like 3 months later, hey guys, we're making fire faction neutral now, and guess what? Fire truck.
yeah,
So on on the point of the updates and whatever, we also have to keep in mind that they do shadow stuff too, and you have to pay attention to the coding
Mhm.
or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll wake up
There's
just
certain access to coding that you have to look at also, I guess.
Yeah,
I always,
people still don't know that the RSC is basically invulnerable to APRPG.
but except for dive bombers now, right? That way,
No.
dive bombers can hurt RSC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
can.
4 bombs, it's gone.
But you said APRPG?
Yep.
Sorry, I meant ARC. Sorry, I meant ARC-RPG. Sorry, I misspoke. ARC-RPG.
So you mean like
Bone
Bone
Law
Law?
can't.
Yeah.
Bone Law can't hurt an RSC.
Probably both.
Bone Law literally cannot hurt an RSC.
Like
If the
anymore? Because I remember losing a real Storm Canada one.
the change kicked in after the battle heating update. That's when that change kicked in.
Thank God for that.
They secretly added it. There's literally a clip. I think it's removed now, but there was a clip on Reddit of that update where a Bone Law got inside of an RSC op. They literally were like, yeah, it's fucked, it's fucked, it's fucked. They got in range, they fired all their shells, and it just went plonk, 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 plonk. Every single RPG shot bounced. Like, what? And then there was
Well,
I was like, aha, someone doesn't read the patch notes.
That's another thing I think people haven't talked about. The health of the nuke and the nuke pad was raised, and then I think the storm cannon itself got a buff too, didn't it? Because I
Well,
don't think they want super weapons to be completely.
Cheaper. RC and Storm Cannon is cheaper now. It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
they made them cheaper now.
not a
but
big
much cheaper.
not a big change, but something that WeJet leaked to me was that they had done some tweaks with the weight and stuff for super heavies, and the Kali super heavy should get a small, very small speed increase, and the Warden's super heavy, the Predators, should be getting a small speed decrease. Ever so small, but I think it was WeJet that told me that. And this was someone data mined. And this is coming this war, and there's no patch notes about it, but it's just a data mine that someone figured out. Which I find interesting.
They need to revisit those super heavies, in my opinion. Still,
don't start, please. I can't deal with any more Ares sadness.
LARP
Poor
tank,
baby.
LARP tank is LARP.
I actually enjoy that vehicle, believe it or not.
I mean, I enjoy the tank.
How many players
too.
you guys think we're gonna get?
That's something I was
gonna
go
over.
Bring up.
You guys think Pop's gonna go over 10K?
I think we're gonna see something like War 96, which is like 10K, 11K people, where it fucking broke the servers. You guys remember how Able just shut down for like a whole?
I've heard close to 20, but 20 is a big ass number.
20? No, I never seen that.
So let me open this topic of discussion then. 2 or 3 major things happened over the last couple of days. That's super interesting. One, Ashes of Creation burnt, which was the big up and coming MMO. It is no longer there. There's a couple of content creators that were really like diving deep into Ashes of Creation. One of them being Pirate Software. High likelihood that we might see the Ashes of Creation creators come and play in Voxel.
No,
So we might have pop up because it was the only like new MMO that was out there. Like that's what Ashes of Creation was like. There's no real other MMO that was out there during the time, and since Voxel now is basically adding in stuff from War Thunder, it's not, but it's the general perception of it. There is just a possibility that someone like Pirate Software or Asmongold, who have shown interest in Voxel but have been waiting for, not maybe specifically Airborne, but waiting for an opportunity to play it, may have been given that opportunity on a silver platter, just because of Ashes of Creation dying in the last like couple of days.
That's the thing
So,
about like the thought of high pop, right? Lots of players coming to Voxel. It's for me, it's great on the surface, but for a game like Voxel, right, especially when you played it for a long time, you realize that it doesn't really do well with high population of players. It just because I know that we can do like, oh, Charlie and Baker and whatnot, but people want to be in the big one, the big wars, right? And that kind of it screws with the servers. It's not meant to, in my eyes, meant to handle so many people, and that's what I feel like
That's
with
going to
the
be a big issue.
it's always been an issue. I still remember like the various naval stress tests that they would do when naval warfare came out, where like there'd be 7 ships in one hex, and the servers would just be imploding. And then we're like, well, crap. Like, maybe they did good adding these new islands. Maybe this is the reason why they added new islands, new hexes to Able to handle just the sheer amount of
Spread
new
out the pop.
players. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not just happening at the mainland; it's happening in these like flank subcontinents. That's what I'm saying. And maybe that's another reason why they made them the way they are now with the starting conditions. Because imagine if they added those hexes, but they were like once fully Kali, once fully blue. It wouldn't have worked. So I mean that's just my take on it. It's interesting with when it comes to player pop.
Also, if they mess, another thing to keep in mind is if they mess with victory points, like what constitute a victory point and what is the victory point requirement, we might also get to a point in the war where we don't have to take low jihad's to win to actually close off the game. That might also be something. Like for the last like 10 wars, we've had to go all the way and like capture two. Basically, it's come down to we had to capture 2 MPF towns to seal the deal. If those new like subcontinent islands actually have victory points on them, and the victory point requirement doesn't significantly change, it might get to a situation where the war ends before we even get into like Callum's Keep or Clan's Head Valley or any of those places, and vice versa for the Wardens, obviously.
The current
Like
war
they,
only
they
had
stop they stop in
one
Sable and they
VP,
win. They
right?
stop in Sable and win.
I mean,
Sorry.
is it confirmed?
The current war only had one VP on the new hexes, right? I wonder if they'll keep it that way.
Okay. Pre-patch don't pre-patch is just LARP.
Pre-patch doesn't matter.
That's pre-patch doesn't matter. Dev branch definitely doesn't matter. If dev branch is there to find bugs and nothing else.
They're
So
gonna.
I would not base expectations until we see war start. Like
I feel like they're gonna add at least one victory point to the subcontinents. So now, whenever I am walking into Nevish, right, I'm no longer gonna just be going east. Now I have to look west too. I'm like, what should I take? Callum's or this new place? Crap.
keep in mind that they might also just add victory points to island hexes, like the traditional island hexes, like Stemmer's Landing might be victory points. Godscroft might be victory points. Lycos, the new island's victory point. Asawa might be a victory point. Might also be a case where the subcontinents are literally the old islands, where it's just you go there for resources, MPFs, refineries, factories, and then the actual victory points is the old school stuff.
So
Could also be.
two interesting takes. Talking about MPFs being like movable and stuff. I also think that we're not going to have as many airfields as we did in Dev Branch. I think they're going to be more scarce, but I think they're going to pop them up where they want, because I know in Alids there was no airfield, but there's a marking out for one in Dev Branch. I think that Dev Branch or airfields are going to be war to war. They're not going to be in the same place every time. I think they're going to be a lot different in regards to where they pop up. I wouldn't say that these things are going to be scarce, but I definitely feel like there are going to be more strategic ones, more mid lane that allow you to have air power start off points that won't be possible anywhere else. You know what I mean? Because you can only fly at max, I think, 4 hexes if you fuel conserve or whatever. I mean, if you're talking about Deadlands, you're talking about hitting base and Sinich, right? If there's an airfield in Deadlands. And that has to be a contested airfield, and you have to dominate that airfield to get that strategic point, right? But if we had one in Lockmore, theoretically, we would be able to make base and Sinich anyway, right? These things
Didn't they say they were gonna make the airfield static for the first few wars? like wherever they are right now in the dev branch or pre-patch 4, that's where they're always going to be for the next 4 or 5
Will
months.
there be that many?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
So,
like,
so just to correct Bear here, this is actually a question that HVL asked during the Reddit Q&A. We literally asked like, how exactly are airfields going to spawn? Because we were kind of interested, like, were we going to have to build them up ourselves? And Max said that in the initial onset, basically where you see airfields on the map right now, that's where airfields are going to be for the foreseeable future. So that's the one thing that we sort of have to agree to, because the other thing is like these airfields aren't something that's easily movable like it is with like an MPF spawning or a factory spawning or a refinery spawning, because those are just, you replace a G house with those relevant structures. The airfield itself is fuck off massive. It's a massive superstructure. So the only possibility that we might have is in future wars, not this coming one, but in future wars, we might have they might have a situation where they won't spawn in the large hangar, or they'll limit the runway to only being tier 1. But that's not but because this is the Airborne update, we are playing, at least for the update war, we are playing with maximum
I'm talking about
airfields
in
up.
future reference points.
Future, maybe, yeah, like 5 wars from now, sure, maybe they might move things around. And to be honest, based on the performance of the war, they might also make balance changes based on map layout as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are certain airfields that are like on the western edge, on the western side of the map. Those are super easy to defend compared to airfields that are on the eastern edge of the western islands. Like for example, Stemma's Landings airfield is ridiculously easy to hit with from the north side for partisans. But it also means that if Wardens capture it, they have a much deeper range into deep striking into Kali backlines. So there are certain airfields that are just built different, and fighting over them is going to be super duper important. And sometimes the devs might just be like, well, the Stemmer's Landing airfield just doesn't work. We're going to move it now to uh, Alchema Estate, where it's a little bit more defendable because it's on the southern edge of the hex.
I
That
mean,
might be
yeah,
something that
it's
they do,
possible.
absolutely.
I think that is actually very possible. The current locations, they're definitely not going to be the same after like a couple of wars, because I can already look at the map right now saying there's some airfields that I say that should not be there at all.
Well, which ones do you think shouldn't be there?
Personally, I think, for example, it's because I also noticed that there's some asymmetry, right, in the airfield placements. So we don't get one in Westgate, right? But Fairneck does. And then, if I recall correctly, we don't get one in. We get one in Endless Shore, but they don't get one in Silicon Shelf. So I think airfields that should not belong there, for example, would be King's Cage, right? I don't like the placement of that. I also think that Stemma shouldn't even have an airfield to begin with, because it's just how. I mean, we have to see how it plays out, but it's an island. Any ship could just come in range and wreak havoc. Who in their right minds is going to bring planes to that, right? But we have yet to see, obviously, how that's going to play out.
Well, here's a wrench to throw in there, right? You don't store your planes there, but you have ammo and parts staged there. So let's say we're having a bunch of fighting in fishermen's and ore breakers, and you can't land in, let's just hypothetically say we own Faranac Origin, you can't make it back to Origin. That airstrip's not going to be something you put all your chips in, or even plain airframes, but that's going to be a pivotal part in getting quick repairs, getting back up in the air, or an emergency landing airstrip. Not every like I think Legendary said it perfect. Not every airfield is built the same. I think there are going to be certain points that are just meant to be cannon fodder or an emergency landing spot. And I think you're going to have, like the one in Origin, bad spot as it's in my opinion, will be a pivotal You know what I mean? That's like where you want your fighters, you want those ready to go. You want to have all the chips in a, you know, all the ducks in a row there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, perhaps like each airfield, sure, their placement might be questionable, but maybe their purpose is different. One is just an emergency strip where you can land and hope to guy you don't get shot. And then the other is more like your official area to recover, to refuel, you're fine,
Yep.
nothing's gonna happen, kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah. And then depending on the situation of the war, each different airfield might have a different value
For the
towards both
work.
factions.
Yeah, 100. Because I think Legendary said it again perfectly. The one in Stemma is very shoddy for the Colonials, but for the Wardens, I mean, can you imagine, you know, taking your bombers, landing and getting full fuel, and being able to go hit like Calakai? You know?
So yeah, yeah, that's also yeah, yeah. I mean, what we have yet to see. I feel like a lot of other areas of this conversation is just speculation, right?
Oh, yeah,
To
that's
be-
part of this
I will,
podcast. It's just all ideology. Like, you know, obviously no one knows, but it's cool to speculate and guess and kind of formulate plans and whatnot, you know, or memes.
It reminds me a lot of
I will say this much. This also raises a question of airfield curation. I will say that unless a very large regiment on the Warden side or a coalition on the Colonial side go and curate a airfield, basically like build a bunker base next to it, build defenses next to it, have QRF teams ready, have something to like defend it with. I don't see any airfield not being perma-tap opt 24/7 unless there is an active large regiment defending it. I just don't see it. So, for example, some airfields, like the one in Orbreakers, the one in Stemmer's Landing, the one in Isawa, those ones, I think they are just permanently going to be dead. Unless a regiment decides, okay, we're taking this up, we're basing our entire game plan is going to be building and defending this. So I'm kind of curious to think of like, do you think that players are going to claim airfields, and then that's that? Like, for example, Bone takes the Allied's airfield. That's your airfield now because you
Mm.
guys are committing to building it and defending it. Do you think that's okay?
I think it kind of goes with the unwritten rule of claiming a salvage field. I think we have our builds here. I think you need to respect the privacy of the builds, but I think the airport, the hangar, and the factory for it, or the small hangar, that's always going to be public, right? That's always going to be. Um, I don't think you can regulate who goes on and off the airfield. I think you can try to organize with like an ACT tower in the hex, um, but I don't think privatizing airfields will be a thing. If that's what you're asking.
no, it's not going to happen. People would revolt if the regiment decided to privatize an airfield.
Oh,
I
that
mean,
But
regiment would be dead.
yeah, I mean, I'll be responsible
But
for
this
their deaths if that happens.
but this raises the question: what if it's 82 DK?
But
Assume you're a warden and you're not a Kali brain rotist. What if it's like a serious regiment and they say, guys, we just need this airfield for us because we have a player base of 6,000 bazillion players. They're all playing. They're super active, and if we don't get to build and play on this, we're not going to do it. So therefore, the entire faction will not have access to it. Like, don't say like if we don't get it, we're going to grief it. Don't think along those lines. But just like this is a high value, high important airfield. We need it for our operations. Therefore, we're going to build Mega Concrete Doombase 3000. We're going to have dudes in airplanes 24/7 QRF patrolling. We're going to make sure that this airfield is being used optimally, designed properly, low M sub drain, that sort of thing. And if they don't do it, then that airfield is just dead on arrival for the entire duration of the war. So like,
I
is
mean,
that a good thing? I guess that's the real crux of the conversation.
I think the wardens will do what they're gonna do, and that's gonna be how they're gonna do it. But I promise you, the Collies will not flow like that, and you will get gangs of people to just be like, "I'd rather not have the airfield than you fucking privatize it." That's how stubborn Collies are about
Okay.
unprivatization.
What
It
if it's
depends on-
what if it's T3? But this comes down to who it is, right? What if it's T3C?
I don't care if you're God. I'd rather go.
Really?
I'd rather have the shit burn. Now, God Himself, Jesus Christ, I'd let Him have it. You know, Lord Savior. But
Sure.
point being, trying to
He's an
illustrate a
XL, by
point.
the way.
Trying to illustrate a point. There's no privatization over public grounds. Doesn't matter who you are or how effective you are. Doesn't matter what you're doing for the hex. Privatizing public resources is against the rules. You cannot do it.
Now we'll see that, like, obviously I am against the privatization of airfields, but then we also have to consider, okay, what if, legendary is right? What if an airfield is just much better off operating under the control of someone who actually takes care of it, right? In that sense, privatization. Or say you prevent randoms from using it, it's just your regiment. Because what I'm seeing here, right, is that if there's no privatization, great, right? Everyone gets to use it, but maybe we may see a tragedy of the commons scenario kind of thing, where their own chaos, that the chaos that ensues from public use is their own detriment. You get me? You know where I'm going with this?
But here's the other half of here's the realistic half, right? How much did you pay for my game, Ship?
For Foxhole?
How much did you pay for my copy of the game?
What, $25?
So you paid for my Big Bear Berg's copy of the game?
No.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't.
So what I'm trying to illustrate is we have all put money into the game, and we all have equal rights to what is entitled in the game. Now that sounds really shitty, but here's the ultimate bottom line of it. I have an investment of $25 in this game, and I expect to get my $25 out of the game. What is promised me into the game? Public resources and the availability to use them, and public stuff. Nothing else. I can't go touch your privatized stuff. That's player facility, and then you can get into the gray area of I'm harming another player's game. But if you tell me I can't play with said item because it's better for the game, well, who's to say what is better for my game that I paid $25 for, and you're restricting me from using a public asset that the devs have given me? That's where it really boils down to. And if you think the war is more important than that, then you're just going to ultimately lose players, which the devs don't want because then their game gets review bombed. And then you also look like kind of a jerk, even though you might be in the right or wrong. You don't have the right to claim over public stuff. That's the ultimate. That's at least my opinion on it, and I'm pretty sure that's how the devs feel about it.
I agree with you too. Like, ultimately, things should be accessible to the public, right? Even if there's downsides, right, to, I guess you could say, efficiency, I prefer that a resource is publicly available rather than I can't use it at all, right? Because
Now,
this person thinks, yes.
The caveat to this is, instead of not letting there be access, that you follow rules that are set by the common goal in man in said facility, or not facility, in said airfield. Like, if you go into an airfield and there's clear indications for you to go the other way, let's say you go right and you taxi to the right and you take off to the left and you intentionally go to the left and absolutely try to go fuck people up and try to fuck up the flow of things, that's a different story. If you're being quote unquote problematic. Right. And even though you could still argue the same argument that I had before, I can play the game how I want, which theoretically, yes, you can. You can also kick fucking rocks and not get help from the collies as well, or wardens. If you're intentionally doing it like that, then I could see some leniency in telling that person to fuck off. But if there's a set rules and they're following it and they're aiding the common goal of playing the game and winning for your side, not being an absolute detriment, or going out of their way to impede on operations in the area, then, sure. Sure, but who decides on what's reasonable and not? I mean, that's the gray area, right, Eternal? But at the end of the day, even if they are doing something wrong, you don't have the authority or power to punish them for it. That's the shitty
But
part of it.
so here's the ultimate conundrum question, right? Let's delve into the gray area conversation a bit more, because obviously there's like black and white, don't do this. Like, don't take an airfield for yourself. It's the same as like you can't take a seaport for yourself. You can't take a storage depot for yourself, right? But the gray area persists in the fact that, let's say 404th says, okay, cool, we are taking I'm going to make a fictional airfield. I'm taking the Endless Shore airfield. 404th says, 404th is playing Endless Shore lane. This is where we're going to play. We're going to, quote unquote, take the airfield, in the sense that they're going to build bunker bases around it. They're going to put a ban on facilities within a certain area around it, because they want to build bunker bases there, and bunker bases are going to have arty defenses on it, and it's going to have QRF planes. And then for them, they want to have a pad right next to the airfield where they can print their stuff and put it in, because they're going to be making fighters every single day, some for themselves, some for public. But the idea here is they're going to curate it. You can still show up with a train, put your frames in and put your parts in, and then you can take off. Cool, they'll allow that. But they say, we don't want you to build facilities here because we want to build facilities here, and we're in command of this. And if we don't do it, we're not going to do it. Therefore, Squid and 11D is going to show up at the airfield every fucking Tuesday and kill it.
You already answered the question. Can I put my shit in
Right.
and take off from the public airfield? Plus, they did nothing wrong.
Sure.
They put their stakes in the ground first. They're building it. They're defending it. They have rights to call off what area cannot be built and what not, in a reasonable amount. That obviously there would need to be player dialogue to dissect. Okay, you need this amount of area. Is it possible? Then you need to have what is that? Fuck, there's a word. Not political. You just need to be reasonable. That's the dumb way of saying it. You need to be reasonable with people. And if they're like, okay, well, we need this room, and then for our shit, and they're like, okay, but can I have X amount to this area here? And they're, most of the time, I don't feel like most people would be like, fuck no. You know what I mean? If you are within reason, like if they needed all of it, so be it. They had stakes to the ground first. But it's within reason that you would have to be open to let other people build outside of your need zone, if that makes sense. But if they're allowing people to come put their plane on and they're allowing people to take off the airstrip, they got stakes in the ground first. That's the first rule of day one. It's sigil. If you believe in sigil, which not everyone does, which so be it. They're not in really any power, but the more people that buy into it, the more power it has. That being said, the ultimate rule is if you get encampment or building down first, you have building priv on the area. That's how it's always gone. And then if they go and demo your stuff, you can report them and they should catch a ban. That's how it's always gone.
Isn't the rule getting an encampment down first?
That's the rule. That's like, from what I understand, that's the rule. Because if they go and kill that, then you have logs showing that they damaged your shit intentionally, and they have logs of who built what when. They are liable to catch a ban for purposefully harming your build. That's the rule of the game. That's the rule of the jungle. First encampment is enough, and if they get that down, they have rule over it, but they cannot control if my plane goes into a public building and that I can take off from it. They can make it hard for us, they can make it not efficient, but it's their build at the end of the day. But as long as it is able to get that shit done, you can't really say anything because that's my opinion on it, right? There's some of my opinion and there's some like things that are not really opinionated in there that are fact. Encampment down first is a very big thing.
I can't fucking wait for these Civil Wars, Ledge. I'm so ready. I got my gloves. Oh man, I actually hate them.
Yeah. Sorry, Ship, go ahead. Yeah, what do you
No, no, I was joking. I actually hate Civil Wars so much, but you know,
Pretty cringe.
yeah, it's pretty cringe. But sometimes I can. It's a mix. It's can be nebulous sometimes. Sometimes I understand people why it happens. Sometimes I
diplomatic. That was the word I was looking for. Sorry, fucking popped into my head like an idiot. Diplomatic. You need to be diplomatic.
If diplomacy collapses,
I do have a
yeah. Go ahead, Ledge.
Diplomacy collapses, and it comes down to who can swing with more members. Huh? I will say it's the one thing I dislike about Foxhole is it does feel like sometimes in some wars you just rub one regiment off the wrong way, and then it's like you spend more time fighting your own team than you do the enemy faction, and sometimes it's just so annoying and so demoralizing. We have to like log in and be like, oh cool, the dudes who really want to build an M-sub printer right next to the fucking refinery has gone and flagged and demoed half my facility because fuck me, I guess.
See,
and
that's the thing,
sometimes, sorry.
That's the thing, though. Like, I agree with you. I understand that, you know, not everyone's gonna understand the unwritten rules of Voxel, where it's like, such as that, like, you know, why the hell would you build an MSUP printer next to field in the field that's next to the refinery that's helping everyone, right? At that point, you question yourself, should we do something about this, right? Or, you know, hey, there's an oil field that could supply the entire hex. There's a group that has just good intentions for everyone, and then comes another group who just wants to privatize it for selfish needs, knowing that it could help everyone. So who has more saying power? I'm not giving reasons to one or the other. I'm just saying it's one of those situations where it's complicated because you don't want to be a dick about it and, you know, bully people off, but at the same time you're like, well, for the better, right? I don't know. I also hate that thing about Fox, especially how devs only give us like 20 minutes for planning. I never agreed with that.
I don't like that either.
I remember when they added it, there was a huge uproar because they're saying, I understand why they did it, right? Because it's like, we don't want, you know, the fields to be excluding, or I guess like long-term planning to be excluding new players, but at the same time, it's counterproductive in a lot of our eyes because it's like you're giving so little time. In fact, there's more infighting now than there was before. So, but that's just my stance on it, right? It's weird.
It's a very complicated gray area that the devs have not given us a lot of insight on their views on it.
Well, I mean, they leave it up to us.
Yeah, but the problem is,
I mean the code of conduct that literally says that the first step before to resolve conflict is to talk it out. That's literally like the first step that you have to do. You can't skip that step, because if you skip that step and you just immediately start like mass reporting, then you go into then they skip the step of talking to you and just banning you. And that's literally what happened to
being diplomatic is key
like
in this game.
100%.
You have to be diplomatic. You have to talk. And to be fair, maybe this is a good thing, because to this day, the entry level conversation that people are having about describing Foxhole still is, oh, it's Factorio, but an MMO. Like, dog, yeah, sure, there's some Factorio elements in it, but game ain't Factorio. In Factorio, you are the server admin, you can ban people you don't like. That's not how Foxhole works. So,
yeah, I mean, in a way, it makes Foxhole truly unique. You gotta, I gotta.
It truly is unique.
It's very, one-of-a-kind games. If there's anything that comes close to it, it's PlanetSide 2, but even that.
One thing I
I,
did like.
I, hmm?
Go ahead. I was saying one thing I did like a lot, because Sai actually brought up a very good point, and something that's not talked about in this game a lot is the language barriers. That is one of the toughest obstacles, and I actually really love the idea that you had with the upgraded H communication system. And if you're a new player or someone just tuning in or not very high veterancy, if you click H, it pops up suppressive fire, help me build, look here, and you get a little ping point. And you can click on one, and then you can click a ping point, and it might be a new keybind for some people. But the cool thing that Legendary brought up, and if he wants to kind of explain it like more in depth, but from what I got it would be a really cool thing if they gave a more elaborate system on that communication tab. If they had more tabs for more in-depth communication with other people. And the other part of it is, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you select the language type that you get, or that you read, obviously, when you click the game. But if I say like suppressive fire and I ping something, it says that in their language, right?
That brings up a question. If you type in local chat, does that not translate to their
No,
local
it does
language?
not. No, it does not.
It does not?
So, ironically, there's a Russian cheat engine that does that, and I was like, because I was reporting the Russian cheat engine like a couple of months ago with some help from some Russian guys,
A lot.
and I got to see like the footage of what that cheat engine could do, and one of the things it does is it auto translates all text on screen to Russian. I was like, "Fuck, that is so cool!" I kind of want to install a cheat
I
engine
want to report
just so you can
everything
communicate better.
but that. Report everything
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that. Put
yeah.
that in.
Ban everyone who uses it except the one dude who just uses the translate, because that's such a cool concept. And just to give more context to what Bear's talking about, a couple of podcasts ago, it's like one of the coolest like quality of life things that the devs can do, which I acknowledge is probably a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of coding work. It's not going to be like you roll out in one patch. It's going to be like several patches, a lot of community involvement, a lot of like crowdsourcing will probably involved as well. But one of the coolest features I've seen in gaming was from Sea of Thieves. So if you've ever played Sea of Thieves, it heavily relies on a callout system. And one of the things that you can do is if your character is holding an item or has something equipped or is basically interacting with something, your H menu, your callout menu, changes to very common tasks that occur with whatever you're holding. So, for example, in CFDs, if you're carrying like a chest of gold or whatever, or a chest of like resources, when you do the callout menu, instead of like, I'm getting on the ship or I'm setting the sails or I'm steering the boat, you now have a callout menu that says, I'm carrying a chest of gold, cover me, or I'm taking this to the shopkeeper, or I'm going to go collect some skulls. So whatever you're holding changes what your H menu does. And I think it would be fucking awesome if you're carrying like a Lamentum, you can use the H callout menu that literally says,
I
hey,
need
can
a
someone grab
tripod.
me a tripod? And
Yeah,
then,
that would be nice.
yeah, and then the dude whose game is and then the dude who's playing in a French client literally in French says, please grab me a tripod in French, localized to whatever their language is, and then there's no language barrier. I think that would be so cool if the devs just like add a bit more time in like the UI and the systems behind it. But I do acknowledge that means like for every single item, for every single vehicle, for every single thing that we play with in the game, you would now need a contextual menu for it. You would need to go and find out what the common uses for all those items are. And on top of that, you would need to then translate it into all the official languages that Foxhole supports. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of resources, but man, if I had to translate all of Foxhole into languages that I speak fluently, I would happily sit and do it, and I would do it for free, dog. Like,
Listen,
hell yeah,
bro.
I would.
Hey, there's one universal language everyone knows. When you grab that fucking Hydra, baby, there ain't nothing else you know what to do with it. Then we're about to go blow some shit up. You don't
You don't
need
gotta-
no
yeah.
text to chat for that, boys.
You don't got to be multilingual to understand the language when you grab a hydrant.
It's a universal right there, baby.
No, Lunaire.
Yeah, same thing. We're about to blow some shit up. There's a few things they could skip. We don't need anything for those. That'll be fine. But I do think that'd be really cool. And I didn't mean to cut you off. We just kind of both started talking at the same time. I do think that is something now that we've had the big fucking crescendo update. I'm gonna be honest. Obviously, we still want some things. Some things are still missing. But I really feel like some quality of life changes could really shape the game up. Like from bottom to top. Like the communication, just a lot more stuff like that. Honest to God, I'm actually so happy
Been that way for a while.
yeah, and I'm so happy they are done with their. Obviously, I don't know what they have down the fucking pipe. They haven't really told us, but I'm happy they're finally over the hump and they can maybe focus now more on some other tasks that have been on the back burner for a while. Hopefully, it's a big hopefully.
It has a lot of potential. It has an insane amount of potential when I look at all the things that could be added, could be refined. Even though the game still, I mean, if you recall Alpha, right? Voxel, when I first started, looks completely different to what it is now. But there are still some entities, some way of doing things that are the same as before. So who knows? Maybe Voxel will be completely different 2 years from now, right? So I'm for quality of life over major content. That would be nice. I want to cut trees for fuck's sakes. Remove hay bales.
Dude, stop
Something.
asking to cut the fucking hardest thing in the fucking game down, bro. That thing already has taken more fucking kills on planes than you ever fucking will, bro. Watch your mouth when you're talking about those trees in game, dude. They will fuck you up.
Trees are forever.
I can breach concrete, but I can't fucking run over a twig. It's like
My sledgehammer's made out of fucking wood. All right, I got wood on that bitch. No, that's carbon. We painted it brown. That's not wood. You didn't cut no trees down for that.
So and also in terms of quality of life, the devs could really just add more hotkeys to certain things. For example, the experimental pull from storage depots is still experimental, but for example, if you're in a vehicle, right, if you hold shift, you left click on a box, you pull 3. How nice would it be if I could hold control and left click, I can pull 15? You know,
Bro,
I do agree with the general sentiment of like, yeah.
I'm not even Logi, and I fucking love that idea, bro. Because when I'm pulling shit, I can't. That's why I don't do Logi, bro. I'd flip the fuck out trying to pull 15 crates over and over, having to right click, pull, right click.
Experimental pull. Yeah.
Oh, that drives me fucking nuts, bro. And I feel so bad for you guys. And that would be like, I can't even imagine what that'd be for you guys.
For me, what drives me nuts right now, I know they added this recently, but how as you're pulling more and more stuff out of a stockpile, it just gets slower and slower and slower. I hate that. I hate having to tell my buddy, "Yo, you start pulling stuff for me, please." I can't.
I miss the small train trick at the bunkers in town hall.
That was fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
That was an insane time
in
in Foxhole.
Small train died. So you wanna know what's really funny, Godly? They added the experimental pull to replace the small train. That's like the small train was there. The small train ran so that we can, swim, I guess, or something. Something.
With that, isn't the crane the top pulling vehicle right now? Isn't that the fastest pulling vehicle? The mobile crane?
It's the fastest at assembling aircraft by far, but in terms of pulling stuff from the depot, I actually think the Dust Crocodile is the fastest.
You guys,
I think at the end of the day, it depends what you're pulling. The more expensive something is to produce in terms of its like raw salvage cost or its raw sulfur cost, that will predicate how slowly it pulls. That's why, for example, pulling public 250 will make you want to hurt something because public 250 is really expensive to build in the factories. Therefore, it is ridiculously slow to pull.
What do you guys remember this, you old Logi Chads? Aspect put something in chat that brought back nostalgia, and I still see it from time to time. Old vets bringing up shipping containers to the front to unload them. You guys remember small shipping containers and bringing that to a
I-
frontline bunker to
I was-
fucking unload it?
I was actually gonna say that, like, I miss my small shipping containers. I used to do that when I started Fox. It was so fun, so nice.
It's wild, dude. They just completely removed it from the game. It's so wild. Those things
I
are
know
so
they gave a
I'm
easy.
glad
reason
it's gone.
for it. They gave a
Hot-
reason for it. I
hot
just forgot
take.
why.
Hot take. I'm glad it's gone, and I'll tell you why. The reason why it's gone is 99% of the time it was used to bring shells.
Oh yeah.
That's what the pallet does.
Yes, that's true. I remember seeing that in '87.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
99, yeah, the majority of the time you bring up a small shipping container, it was literally just filled with 120s or 150s. Sometimes it was like a pure BMAT one. Sometimes it's like a round robin, like a little bit of BMATs, a little bit of ammo, a little bit of medic. But most of the time, when I used small shipping containers back in the day to like help regiments and whatnot, it was like we would prepare 5 or 6 small shipping containers. That was just 120 shells, specifically 120 shells, so that we could like fire all the 120 and like level a base. So for at least to that aspect, that's kind of like moved away. That being said, though, the one thing from the old Logi stuff that I really miss hammering out a pallet of barbed wire. That was like peak, like really like simple like Logi back in the day. Because back in the day, if you wanted a pallet of sandbags or a pallet of metal beams or a pallet of barbed wire, you literally go to a con yard and you hammer out the pallet, and then the barbed wire would just magically appear on top. You didn't have to like make crates of barbed wire and submit it to an empty pallet. That just wasn't a thing. Was the most efficient way to get barbed wire up and running on a front line. Was just go hammer one out and bring it with a truck. That was awesome. So I do miss that one from the list of stuff. Also, hilariously, if you hammer out a pallet of barbed wire and you pull one barbed wire out, you can't package the barbed wire, so you had to like go make barbed wire and submit it in. It was really goofy. It was such a goofy old fucking system with the old Logi.
I can't believe they used
what's
sorry, go on.
No, you did. Go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say because we're talking about like old Foxhole. I still cannot believe I used to play Foxhole before trains. That was just I can't. I don't know. I can't
Okay.
believe that was a thing.
Now you have me on a new tangent and something I think they missed out so hard on. I am not a big like train LARPer guy, but fuck me, I think it would have been cool if they had a flat gun on the fucking trains, dude. A train car with a flak on it. You had the chance. It would have been so cool. A blood tender, a flat gun, Logi, another, like, come on, dude. It would have been the LARP of a lifetime.
Not even flag Sarahs. Imagine Sarahs on carts. That would be fucking badass.
Like, come
The
on.
the MGs on train cars cannot switch modes to air.
No,
They can't fire.
they can't. They can't. Yeah,
Rip.
that's what I'm saying, bro. I
There's
just
no
it's a missed opportunity.
there's no train anti-air. We have already committed to the very first set of trains that we release from HVL is going to be trains that are just loaded with Sarahs, and we're gonna stop every 10 meters, dig a fucking pit, put a Sarah in,
That's
put an M
awesome.
sub terminal next to it, fill it to like 10,000, and
That's
then move on.
insane.
We've already committed to like we're gonna have to do it because our train lines are gonna have to be protected, and then we're gonna put overhead pipes over them.
Well, you would think the next update they give us, they're going to have to implement some vehicle AA or something.
They will. They've
They have to.
considered- Max
yeah,
said
the
someone
devs,
else said they would
yeah,
consider it.
yeah. The devs didn't want to do it this patch because they, straight from Evil Max's voice, they kind of want air to be OP. They kind of want air to be like you spent the time building the facility. You figured out the systems. You protect the airfield. You did the rare investment. You did the facility LARP. You have your toy. Have fun with it. Go and drop some dive bombs on an SPG on a crane. Enjoy it. You deserve it. Next
Fucking
patch,
imagine.
So-
next patch, next, 2 months from now, we're gonna have highwaymen that are going to shred your fucking plane when you fly over one. That's just what it's gonna be.
I really think something cool that I'm anticipating coming is I expect there's going to be different type of flat guns. So we have the quote unquote flak 88 right now. I think we're going to get a lot of different variations of flak and flak vehicles. So you said highwayman. My head did not go to highwayman right off the bat. So one of the biggest AA vehicles, obviously 20 mil would fit it. Does theirs 20 mil do shrapnel now? And now they have to load it by, or did it went to 14.5? Never mind, we're good. Sorry, just side tangent. I thought of the base variant, brigand with their auto cannon.
Yeah.
I see auto cannons being that's what I assume is coming next, is an autocannon kind of AA. And something I'm really surprised they didn't dive into or delve into. Why we didn't get like a Bofors. That's something I really wish I could have saw. Is a Bofors, a dual.
Sorry, what's that?
A Bofors
It's
gun.
like a semi-automatic. No, sorry. It's an
Yeah.
automatic. Like, think of a flak gun, but now it's like automatic.
It was semi-auto essentially. Like yeah, it was one trigger pull, one flak round, and it would just go up and burst. And they had now obviously real life shit doesn't matter. It's just a in placed gun that they set down with 4 legs, and it would just fucking pop, like pop 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 pop. And then there was a magazine that they would load in. It's a stripper clip actually, a big one, and it'd be 5 more shells they'd shove in, and then pop 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 shells, pop 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 pop. And I was really surprised they didn't add anything like that at all, because that's like, if you look at any World War II film ever, I promise you there's a Bofors somewhere in it. Like, I guarantee you, one point in that film there's Bofors.
No, look, like I said, well, not like I said. Lord Max said is, and they want people to play the planes. So I think the contrapoint is, I think you would be very upset if you went out and you got together and you guys met your dive bombers and you went out there and you started hitting stuff and you started doing damage. I think you'd be very upset if the base eat could kill you instantly, because it has an anti-air mode and it just has long range and it shoots you down. I think you'd be very upset that your player investment in the game is hours of scooping, getting rares, running the facility, M-subbing it, defending it, etc., and then you get killed by a thing that you can hammer out at a Conyard. I don't think you would enjoy that gameplay loop. And I think that holds true for everything else that the community has been suggesting over the last 3 weeks. Like, oh, I want my highwayman to shred air if you fly over it, or I want the Sarah on the back of a flatbed. Now, mind you, I'm all for quad cannon fucking LARP in Foxhole, but I also acknowledge that it's probably not the best idea if you bring up one of those bad boys and all the dudes that spent hours and hours and hours collecting components at the start of the war and who hammered out scouts to go harass Logi lines immediately get shredded because one dude brought a thing that you can hammer out of a Conyard. I also don't think that's a fair way to balance it. And I think that's why Max specifically said in the Reddit Q&A that you're not getting AI AA, you're not getting this, you're not getting vehicles, that you don't have mobile platforms, you don't have any of this shit, because we kind of want people to spend time, feel like the time that they've spent making the air assets is actually worthwhile. And if that comes at the cost of dudes driving trains tiers, dudes driving logi trucks tiers, dudes driving ships tiers, tanker tiers, like navalman tiers, that's the price that's going to have to be paid until we
So,
actually get the
when
complete
you run
package.
your trains, you need fighter escort.
Oh, I have plans. Don't worry about
scout
me.
plan.
That's insane.
I spent the last 2 weeks prepping train lines. Yeah.
Bare minimum, you're gonna have scout plane
Well,
escort. Bare minimum.
And that's another thing. We can't just look at like the doom on us. Like, take your dive bombers out, boys, and go find a loaded Warden Logi train. Smoke that thing.
Oh, it's dude.
It's not just us that has to worry about it.
It's
So
actually a lot worse, because 20 mil or 14.5 has a lot of limitations on what it can hit, and I don't think dive bombers are going to be the necessarily best at going and doing partisan style work. But if you do have a partisan in the back line and they do scout a fully loaded train, yeah, that's gonna be a bad day. Especially if it's like loaded with SPGs.
All
or
I'm gonna
something.
say
It's gonna be nasty.
for novice logistics players who are getting into Foxhole and you are building your first train, may I recommend the following train layout: locomotive, infantry fighting cart that can hold coal and machine guns, and then the rest of your train. Don't build a coal tender; it's LARP. Just putting it out there. We've been at the forefront for this for like back since WL days. We completely abandoned the coal cart on the train in favor of an infantry cart that holds one less stack of coal, only one less stack of coal, but you can double mount MGs on it, and you can also lock and hide drivers inside. So if you're worried about like the low flying scout sniping your train, just saying, you could put rat catchers and lamentans on it, or if you're colonial, you could put ISGs on it, and then the low flying planes are a little bit less threatening. So pro tip for new Logi players, as I always help out new players in the podcast.
Well, boys, we're hitting around 2 hours, and I think shippage. You said you gotta be. You only had a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think I got stuff to do, so
Yeah,
I'd love to
well,
stay. But
I was just saying we can, any ending convos or any ending points that you guys want to talk about in this Airborne update, coming up, or anything you just want to say at all in general about Foxhole. HVL sucks, anything like that. Valid points can be said.
True based HVL people, we suck. Let's go. Based and true.
Yeah, they wish they were as bad as Bone, dude. Those shitheads suck, man. No, but if you guys have any ending comments or something I actually kind of wanted to talk to you about, Legendary, is maybe opening up the chat, because we're starting to get a few people in here. Maybe opening up for some questions on our thoughts, if you guys are down for that. Maybe just a few.
fire away.
Yeah, we do. I think we could do it, but maybe let's give opportunity for people who did it up. So let's get some closing thoughts in, and then we can do Q&A.
Yeah.
Chip? What do you think, Chip?
Obviously I'm excited for Airborne. I love discussing about this stuff, and part of me is excited, part of me is actually terrified, because I know how wrong it's gonna go. We'll see all the crazy stuff, but if I have high hopes for victory. If I can play a war for 70 days, then I can do anything. I'm excited. So, but yeah, that's it for me, and I hope to see you all in Update War and kick some Warden ass. I will see you guys in Calmscape, okay?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
All right, be safe, guys. Thank you for having
Cheers,
me.
Chip.
See you.
Yeah, brother.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for joining.
What's the pleasure, dude?
Thank you. You too.
Oh, well, that's gonna fuck up all of our cams. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I can edit this, but it's gonna be a little fucky wucky. Actually, you know what?
Just drag in one of your them to mute.
Nope.
Just drag in one of your
I'll
orders to
just-
mute them.
We're already good. I just had to change. You're gonna be E the man. I'm just not gonna have your name. You're good. Fixed. I'll swap to the
That's
3-man
fine.
portrait. Oh,
wait, can I do it?
No,
wait,
I still have.
man? Wait, am I either man? Or
No, you're not. I still have the Airborne fuck up that I was trying to piss off all your guys.
well, put in Q&A now, so maybe we can do a Q&A.
Yeah.
Also, Godly, you're still good on time, brother. Yeah.
I'm here,
Godly
boys.
Force. Yeah. Okay, cool. Don't want to be like, oh, we'll let ship go, but we chain Godly Force to the radiator.
Yeah, you're stuck with us. Yeah, but
You guys
actually,
are stuck with me.
I'm not stuck in
Let's
here with
go.
you. You're stuck in here with me. That's a good line. It's a good movie. But yeah, dude, if you guys have any questions in the chat that you guys want to bring up or anything that you want us to talk about, I think this would be a good time.
Let me fire up your chat again. Unfortunately, I have to like pause your video because my Discord lags.
Oh my God,
Because I think
legendary!
it's the upstream.
My boy, My Story 2D, he farmed on the LARP war, is what I call it, the war in between war or pre-patch war. He said that he got 650
Yeah.
rares off of one field.
Where did he fall?
I'll ask him. He's joining the Reggie next war, but he said he farmed one field by himself and got 650 rare mats.
Okay, so I would really like to know where he farmed and what the state of the war was at the time, because we have an ongoing like long-term observation about how rares spawn on fields going on, and I'd be very curious to see how that worked, because there are some interesting tech mat and rare mat spawning mechanics in the game, and we have a sneaking suspicion that we have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of Logi players don't quite understand what happens when you um, put harvesters, stationary harvesters on fields. So I'd be very curious to find out exactly what field, like literally tell me exactly the field that he farmed, in what hex, and how many like, and then I'll go and take a look and see how many facilities are built in that hex, because that I think that heavily influences how rares spawn in certain areas. So yeah, that's super interesting. That's super cool to hear. Not uncommon. When we did the Island LARP War, which was 128 or 129, one of our Logi guys called Yodan, he went and scooped the salvage fields on Stemmer's Landing, which is one of the areas that don't have daily like scooping activities like in a regular war. But since we were in that hex, and we're the big Logi nerds, and we basically occupied the entire island, we were scooping that field every single day. And I'm not kidding. Yodan was scooping like easily like 500, 600, 700 iron a day solo. Pure iron, just like iron drops. And we suspect that has something to do with how harvesters impact the game economy. So I'd be very curious to see what your guy says, where he get those rares. And please do forward that data on to me, because we're trying to master how rare mats and stuff spawn in the game, and information like this is always useful.
Yeah. The first question we got asked though, boys. Sin asked, "How do you guys feel about large ship changes, such as the reload changes? Also, how many, if any, do folks want on island hexes?" I'm assuming he's meaning VPs. Okay. Yeah. Like I said earlier when we were talking about this in the very beginning, I think to have I am lurking.
Well, in order to make them meaningful, you have to have at least one VP out
yeah,
there.
I was gonna say at
Else
least have
people
one.
aren't going to fight.
I think really good spots to have them as well would be like Onyx and Kura Stand or Strand. That way you can still get support via land. It's not 100% Jover if you don't have naval assets out there, but it would really help both, and that would also be kind of the cutoff point to where naval and water will mix, to where it's not just water and it's not just land. I would like to see personally at least one out on the main chunk of new islands, and then like Lycos Isle and like Ore Breaker, I would like to see one as well, because that would be kind of the, in my opinion, turning the tide of the water area. I think that would be a very good in my opinion, that's I think that'd be a pretty good 2 VPs a piece, 4 new VPs. I think that'd be fair. What do you guys think?
So in my opinion, I would say my opinion to make islands relevant is there's basically three main ways that you can make an island relevant. One is make it a VP. Yes, that's the primary one. Two, it used to be if it had a refinery or an MBF. I think that is now like level three important. Like if an island has a refinery on it, constant source of BMATs, a way to export RMATs, that's pretty big. But in my opinion, the second most important way to make an island relevant now is having an airfield on it. If an island has an airfield and you just let the enemy have it and you don't contest it, you don't partisan it, you don't tap up it, you are going to have bombers in your backline facilities, and bombers fucking shred facility structures, shreds them. So I think that the way that islands are going to be relevant is it's either going to be a VP or it's going to have a tier two airfield on it, or last use case for it, it has a refiner and MPF or both.
I talking about that, and Godly, I don't know if you spoke on it yet. Did you say how many VPs you wanted out there to make them legit?
At least two. I think
Yeah.
2 would be a good number.
2 per side or 2 total?
Maybe two total. I mean, maybe a little bit more. I mean, you have to have one, like on the instance on the east side, you have to have one on the north side near the Warden territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to make it something to fight over and people to invest in. Maybe between 2 and 4, let's say that.
Yeah.
2 on top, 2 on the bottom.
I think I agree with that too. I think something else that is very interesting legendary, which I'm going to be curious if the devs play around with. You know how there's different types of town halls with different resistances and HP pools or whatever? Like
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to do different level airfields in certain areas. So like this airfield can only its maxed out potential. Like there's also certain town halls with more industry, more things to tech into. I wonder if there's going to be the same thing for certain airfields and stuff, to where this airfield's max potential could have um, a tier one, or this can only be a dog shit like literal scout plane runway, or stuff like that, or maybe they have the full hangar, or they only have the where you can build the scout planes. I wonder if they're gonna dabble in stuff like that.
so Max did say that they are going to experiment with that, but as Max always says, not for the update door. So maybe like 3 or 4. Like I said, there might be certain airfields where you don't get the big hangar, which means you can't deploy large planes there. So the only thing that you can do is hammer out scout planes, or it's just a dirt runway and you have to bring like your iron ships full of plane parts and fuel, and then you can land there and stage out. So that's definitely something that Max said that they're going to experiment with, but it might also be a situation where he will defer to the map designers, as you called it something earlier, like the generators or whatever. So the map planners, that might also be in their ballpark.
Hmm.
So yeah, that definitely possible. I still personally think it would be cooler if we could make our own little shitty airfield that we can launch fighters from or whatever. But I do see that there needs to be a reason for us to fight over airfields. It needs to be a strategic asset, and it needs to be something that we go out and spend resources on to make sure it's our color. So yeah, bit of both.
Now, as to the new changes with the boats, the biggest one, which I still take responsibility for, this podcast has bitched about this for almost a year now. Large holes being able to be patched and changing the large hole mechanic is so fundamentally huge for naval gameplay. It opens it up so much. Is it in a perfect place? No, but is it literally op ending? There's nothing we can do but sail home and tuck our legs? No. And I'm very glad that they made that change. I do think it's very weird how we have to load both of our guns At the same time, I do think it might be beneficial, but I don't see it making that big of an impact on like actual gameplay, because you still have to like have both shells in, and it's still the
Talking about
communication
the
will have to be
DD,
yeah, because the DD you have to load both shells at the same time now. Every time you click R,
the one thing that worries me, if you miss a salvo on a frigate coming in, however long it's going to take for you to reload, I mean, you got to be very good.
I
You're going
just
to have to hit your first salvo or something.
I just find it mega ironic that the faction that struggles the most with naval pop has now has the skill, not the skill, I guess the barrier of entry for efficient naval gameplay added to it. Because let's be real, the frigate is like dog shit easy to understand, right? You put one shell in it, you reload the gun, you pull the trigger. Now it's like the faction that has historically suffered with getting people into boats now has to be more coordinated and more efficient. And it's not just the DD; it's also the Titan, because the Titan has triple barrels, whereas the Callahan has double barrels, right? So it's just I just find it incredibly ironic that Devman's like, hell yeah, let's make it so that if you want to play if you want to play efficiently on the DD, you need more people on it below deck. Whereas the frigate is just like, yeah, well, you could just use the same old Joe Schmo loading a single shell into each barrel, and they'll be perfectly fine with it. So Devman again instilling a vision. I still hold that the better middle ground for the DD change is literally just make it, and it can this could be applied universally across all weapons, not just the DD. But obviously the DD is the big conversation point for this. Is just make the barrel reload time proportional to the number of shells that can be loaded in simultaneously. It also doesn't make sense. Like if you imagine the LARP aspect of it, you have a dude that's loading the shell into the thing and locking it in, and then they fire, right? If there's only one barrel being loaded in, it's just one dude loading the shell in, not two dudes. It won't take more time. But yeah, Devman messing around with with the DD reload times just for the sake of it.
it's weird. Here's my other opinion on it, and I still think this is still the most mind-boggling thing to me. I still don't understand why we don't have a closer ammo room to our bat gun. That still is there workarounds to it? Yes. Is it very efficient? No. And is it very annoying to run all the way to the front of the boat or have to pull it, open up an inventory screen, pull it? Like, I don't know. To me, it just seems very weird the
So
way you have to
going
load that bat gun.
going forward from this Airborne update, what I hope, give us a little bit of content going forward with your other updates, but focus on the fucking intricates, like this DD. Like the DD needs a little bit of help, because isn't it where like if you get a large hole in your back compartment, you're pretty much done,
I mean, I think that'd be the same for
right?
them with. I mean, it'd be the same for them, wouldn't it not? With
I'm
the.
saying they should be that for both sides. I'm saying they should take care of the intricates and make sure everything is quality of life is better. I guess what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you just hit anyone's spawn room, which I think on the Warden one is where the dual 68s are, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where their spawn room is. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. If you put a large hole there, they can't spawn. That's for all large ships. If you hit it in their spawn room, they
Well, and
just
I just want to
can't
make
spawn.
it clear, it's just not about the DD. It's just about all the quality of life all the way around in the game. It was just the DD thing is just one specific thing, but
Yeah. I don't know. With the naval changes, I'm so on it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna super mold over the naval changes. Obviously, it's gonna impact like maybe 1% of the player base because not everyone's into naval. So
Wait,
yeah,
hold
we'll have
on.
to see.
Guys, collies don't do naval. What the fuck are we talking about?
Exactly. It's, the 1% I was referring to was Warden Navy.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that
mean,
doesn't matter. You might see us occasional spawned in, NPC DD out there, but that's not real
Of
players,
course.
guys. Come on. We don't have DDs.
True.
We have really nice Pearl Harbors that you're going to be able to hit with your torpedo bombers and Ashfields, but that'll be way later,
Alright,
yeah, what else do we got here?
yeah, grab another question. I think I have time for one more, and then I have to dip. It's
Yeah.
like falling asleep time again.
Yeah, it's all good. One more I think will be perfect. What do you think is the biggest thing missing from Airborne that y'all think should have been added? I'll let you
Don't
guys
say
go
AI
first.
air. Please, okay, whatever you guys say, please don't say AI air, because I don't
Just a
think it's necessary.
diversity in AA equipment. A little
Yeah.
bit more.
It's fair.
Which I hope they do implement, because I know they want Airborne to be dominant with the release and everything, but you got to give everything else involved a fighting chance somehow.
What about you, Bear? What do you think?
Well, I think the one thing I'm actually missing from Air is I'll just say it. I actually am kind of sad that both sides don't have a strafe plane. Obviously, you can strafe in a fighter. You can strafe in these things, but that's not a very adequate, like what I would consider a strafe plane. I wanted my fucking PPSH plane. Okay,
I was about to say, fucking
This
Jamie,
is-
pull up the PPS fucking cope photo quickly.
where
He says it every
I need
podcast.
I need my fucking strafe plane. All right, I'm not gonna be happy until it gets fucking added, and I'm gonna die on this fucking hill. Okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm dying on that hill. So I actually think it's actually a very well rounded and more than I was expecting. The AA was to be more desired, but they fixed it. I think the A is an okay spot, and I do agree with the Legendary. And let's be honest, this is the Airborne update. If Airborne is not strong, that kind of ruins the point of the update. So I think things will balance out and things will get added. But as things were missing, no, I think they actually have a counterplay on both sides. And the other thing is just AI for anti-air. I mean that's the other nothing. No, I'm just trying to fuck with them.
Next time devs release a new super heavy for collies, I hope they add in a big garrison that you could build in a bunker base, which instantly destroys tanks 200 meters away from it, because that's basically what people have been asking for
Hey,
with AA turrets for like
facts,
the
bro.
last 3 weeks.
Facts, bro. No,
True.
I'm actually not a big fan of AI AA. The more I delve into this, I really don't think it would be good. And if it did, here's the two ways this plays out. Either the AA is really strong and it fucks your planes up and it really sucks, and then you have to do typical foxhole where you just play ground games and you don't see planes until the fucking base is dead, and then you go into a new one where you can't fly planes. Or your AI sucks so bad that I'm just going to be able to 360 no scope, dump a fucking bomb on you, and dip out before it kills me. There's only both ways suck. So just have it to where fighters are good and AA that you can man is good. The pop is going to be super high, right? And we don't even know how a real war is going to function. It's going to function. We don't know how it's going to function, guys. There's going to be chock full hexes. I doubt there's going to be a lot of downtime because there's going to be so many players. There will be, but it's going to be a packed house, guys. And I think we just need to trust them that they know what they're doing with their game. And I think we should also trust them if it does suck. They'll probably implement stuff to help. But yeah, just PPSH plane at the end of the day, honestly. Strafe planes. Legendary, what about you? What's missing for you?
I think the I could probably go down a whole bunch of like random list stuff that they could add, but I think the biggest missed opportunity that bridges Airborne to Logi as well was, man, the trailers that you have to pull to assemble planes is so fucking weird. Why couldn't they just give us a CV variant where you could hold all the aircraft parts on like a forklift and just load it into the airplane? And it has like a small profile and it doesn't move very fast. and then that would be a way for you to like maneuver large items in between facility buildings without the need for a swell train. Not efficiently, but sometimes you don't need to move. Sometimes you really don't need to move like 400 pecons with a small train. Sometimes you just kind of need to move 100. And I don't want to like go and fish out a trailer to do that. So I really think that they could have added like some more utility vehicles. But I'm gonna be super fucking honest. That's pretty much how they fucking do things when major updates rolls out. The stuff that we really need is only gonna come like 6 months later because they want us to be like, yeah, that's right. Appreciate us adding in this like cool little vehicle that can like quickly load in your plane. Because remember, we can always take it away, and then it's going to be back like Airborne 1.0 release, where you have to deal with a heavy truck with a trailer.
McDonald's sucks unless you've been fucking baling hay all day, boys. Remember that. Fucking out in the hot heat.
Yeah, drinking swamp sludge is terrible, and then they release the nice like steak afterwards, and then you go and appreciate the steak even more, probably when the swamp water was not good for you.
You know,
Yeah,
but actually,
definitely.
there's something I'm really surprised you didn't just say that really blows my mind, and something I'm surprised none of us said until it dawned on me. No Logi planes. That's kind of shocking to me. That I'm very surprised that didn't get added.
You can
Well,
throw 16 crates
have
in.
Yeah, we have airport to airport Logi vehicles. So you can like put 16 crates on a Pegasus, but I'll be real, I feel like that's not really the intended goal for the Pegasus or the Zealot on the one side. I think that the more realistic goal with that is sometimes you might want to like prepare an air raid to go somewhere, but you don't have the range from your like takeoff point. So the idea here is, what if you take soldier supplies and all the equipment that you need to do your op, fly your Pegasus to a more forward airstrip, like you said a little bit earlier, where it's not like a fully built up one and it's kind of just like a scrap field, like in the middle of nowhere. Then you can submit all your stuff from your airplane on there, and then that will be your forward operating point for the rest of your like days op. I think that's more the use case that they had for Pegasus. But again, we haven't really felt the depth of how airplanes impact the game. So I think it would also be kind of weird that they introduced a transport plane right out the box because, and I'm not just talking about like Logi transport, but like also like airdrop transport as well. Like, you know, a plane that drops a CV or a plane that drops an armored car or a plane that drops, in-place guns on the front line. What does that do to like the meta of the game? I think we first need to figure out like how often and how oppressive is the frontline the frontline patrol warden fighter going to be, or how oppressive is the patrol toxin blind solver going to be. I think we first need to figure out what that is, and then we can start filling in the gaps in between. And then potentially, like, because of that, we might see changes to other logistics vehicles as well. Like, if the paradrop plane or the transport plane can carry 60 crates of Logi, then maybe the standard shipping container now can now carry 100 crates of Logi to make up for it because you're ground based now. So knock on effects. I think it's too big of a risk to introduce something now and it being overpowered. Because I will say outright right now, and Zoltagash is probably going to watch this video. He's probably going to agree with me. If they made it so that the Zealot or the Pegasus carried like 100 crates of Logi out the box, we would never build trains again. Like we won't. We will just do Logi using those transport planes. So I think they intentionally are being conservative, and then they might test the waters and changing things as we go. So we'll see.
Yeah, dude. It's all we have time for, but I really feel, I won't say nervous. I'm excited. I'm very excited for this war. I'm very ready to take it on, dude. I'm ready to rip this fucking band-aid off, whether it's hell or high water. Fucking I'm ready to put some warheads on foreheads, I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. And I just want to thank everyone. Godly, I know it was kind of last minute. Thanks for coming in, and Legendary, always thank you for being here.
I love being with you boys and talking Foxhole.
Yeah, dude. And everyone that was here, thank you guys for watching and offering us some questions. I think I'm gonna end the video right here. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next time.